Good morning, Keller Williams, New England. Welcome to Ignite session. Today we are going over how to qualify buyer and seller leads. I trust that you guys have been coming along with the Ignite session since we've started, and would love to hear a little bit about you in a minute. First, let me tell you who I am. My name is Jen Bovey. I am the area director for the Keller Williams New England region, and I am also an operating principal in Rhode Island. Hi, Brianna. Right where Brianna is sitting is one of our offices, and I'm happy to be here today. I am going to be co-teaching this with one of our associates here at Keller Williams, Coastal Rhode Island, Rhonda Messingborg. She has a ton of knowledge and in leadership and in agent growth. So she's going to be sharing her thoughts and ideas on how to qualify buyers and sellers. And as I was running through this Ignite session, it really was something that I was really excited to teach today because it's a really big part of your business. It's a really big piece of once you get that lead, what happens next and how do you know, or what category do you put your buyers and sellers in? So we're really going to be diving into that today. Right now, I'd love to start off with, I know you've been playing along for many sessions. This is my first session with you guys on this round. And I wanted to ask you about your success system. You guys know what the success system is. I'll remind you really quickly. It's the daily 10 conversations, the 10 note cards, the 10 into your database, and your 10-5-1 social media engagement. That's the new one that I had to look at my notes for. So let me hear a little bit about how you guys are making out with your success system through Ignite so far. This is where I'd love to have anybody come off mute and share their experience. And if you could turn your cameras on, please do. Anybody have questions on the success system as far as what it is? Because I'm happy to go through that if this is the first time we're hearing of it.
Okay, well, hi, good morning. I'm Ellen. How are you?
Hi, Ellen. Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you. Happy hump day. So I'm new, and so I've been, using the practices. One of the things we talked about was, sending out campaigns and giving out information, and sometimes adding a little glitch in yours causes people to call you. Well, I didn't do that, but my phone, because of the update, sent a request to every person in my contacts, every single person. And I have been inundated with calls which forced me to have conversations. I got way more than 10 conversations, way more than 10 contacts. I think the only thing that would probably be something different would be the handwritten notes. Like I can text, but who am I writing a handwritten note to? Because I don't really, I have a buyer, but I don't have anyone that I can say thank you.
Well, Ellen, first of all, thank you for sharing. And I had something like that happen to me a few years back, and it ended up being like a good fail, like one of those things.
Oh, it was an awesome fail.
Or a good miss, whatever you want to call it. And I ended up having the same kind of conversations. Like, I'm sorry, I did not mean to send it to you. Hey, how are you? By the way.
Yes.
Right. So, so thank you for sharing that. And here's the thing. Anybody that you did have a conversation with, I would start writing those notes today and say, it was so funny that I connected with you this week. It was kind of by accident, yet I'm very happy we're able to connect. Just wanted to remind you that I am in real estate. And if you have any real estate needs, I'm happy to help you. Something like that keep it very easy. But anybody you talk to, part of those 10, this is for everybody. Any 10 conversations you have should be followed up with 10 note cards to those people that you spoke to.
Okay. And one of them in particular, because it happened to be my insurance agent. He owns his own insurance agent now. I met him over 20 years ago. His assistant called me and apologized because the link that was sent to her expired. And I said to her, oh, well, I apologize, but I'm a realtor. And she goes, oh, well, can I add you to my database? Oh, absolutely, you can add me to your database, because they refer their clients to agents all the time. And by the way, she doesn't have an agent. She could definitely use an agent.
Well, let's think about that for a minute, Ellen. How many other insurance people can you get on their database?
That's in,
Right?
well, yeah. I don't know. I didn't know that would be possible. Like, he's a big company. He's not small. When I met him, he was just an agent. Now he has his own. So,
Right.
I never thought to, I mean, certain companies, yes, but not a big company like his.
You never know. You never know where your leads are and where you're going to be qualifying from. So that's a great story to share. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. Who else? Who else has some interesting conversations that they've had, or anything that you're struggling with, any challenges you're having with that success system? Because I will tell you, I've taught Ignite. I've been at Keller Williams since 2012 and in real estate since 2001. And what I will tell you is the Ignite system, it's new this year, yet that success system that they have here is really not new. And that is the key to this whole program. If you just did that success system, which is what again? 10 what? Someone help me out. 10. Ellen, what did you have? How many? 10 what?
10 conversations.
10 conversations, thank you. 10 note cards. 10 what else? Into your
contacts.
Into your database, whatever you call it. And then your social media aspect, which is, what is it? 10 likes. Right, 10, 5, 1. Thank you. That's the new one. You guys are going to keep having to help me with that one. Yet I do think it's a great add-on because of how many people are on social media. So before we go any further, I am going to introduce my co-host here. She is sitting right next to me, so you're gonna have to speak nice and loud so people could hear you. We can't unmute both of us. It'll be very awkward. And what does it do? It like echoes. Yeah. So here with me is Rhonda Messingborg. Rhonda.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see everybody. I'm excited that Jen asked me to co-host with her this morning, and I love what we're going to be talking about today. You also are going to have me tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm also going to be the instructor for Win with Buyers, along with my business partner, Sam Alpern. So you get me for 2 days. So super excited to be here, and thank you, Jen, for asking me to be a part of today.
All right. I'm replying to Laura because she just made my day in the comments. I was not 12 when I got my real estate license. Very flattering. I was 22. So thank you for that. All right. So let's keep going here. We talked about your success system. Does anyone else have anything before we go? Because I will, like I said, that's the most important piece of this. If you're not doing that in Ignite yet, make it a point to start doing it today. Make it a point that is your one thing you're going to start doing today. And as we go on, I'd love to see who's in the room here. How many of you just got your license in the last 30 days? Ooh, I see a hand up there. David, thank you for having your camera on because I could see you and I could get your energy from you. So thank you. I see it. I feel it. All right. So David, in the last 30 days, anyone else? How about the last year? Okay. We got another last year. Ellen, Crystal, we have a few others in the chat. Okay. 2 years.
What is your question? Sorry, I just joined.
How long have you been in real? Why don't you put in the chat? How long have you been in real estate? I'm going to put mine. All right. Ignite is such a good place for anybody here, whether you are still getting your license today or if you got it 30 days ago or more. So 30 days or 30 years? I need to know. Who is that? Who was that? It ran up. Roland.
Years.
30 years? You just had to come on to beat me, huh? It's all right. It's okay. I love that.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
I love it. So please chime in with any of your life experiences in real estate as we go on with today, please. Would love it. That's for anybody here, because honestly, even if you're in this business for 30 days, you get experience. Anybody know what I mean by that? You learn stuff that you absolutely did not even think you would be learning. And I'm still learning at 22 years in, and Roland, I bet you are at 30 years as well.
Love that you're here.
I mean, you're here, right? So you're always in learning base. I love it. Okay.
If you don't mind, I've been a real estate agent for 45 days, but I've been within the realm on the other side for over 25 years. So I've
Well, then
worked
you
with
have a lot of
agents.
transferable skills, I would say.
Yes, I keep hearing that from them, like, oh my gosh, you have a plethora of education when it comes to the mortgage side, the state's attorneys, I did, Fannie, Freddie, 203Ks, everything, just all of it, all over the US.
Honestly, that is such a great, because when I got into the business, Ellen, I had to go out and go meet with lenders, because I sat in a office meeting once, like one of my first ones, and they said, the FHA rate is about 6.5%, and the 203K loans. And at 22 years old, just in the business, that I don't even know what that meant. Like, it sounded like gibberish. It really did. So one of the first things I had to do, Ellen, was go find lenders and say, can you tell me what FHA means? Can you tell me what a 203K loan means? Because I have no idea, and I don't want to misrepresent a client if they could use a system like that if I don't know about it.
And
So
that's great.
yeah.
Because some agents didn't care to know. They didn't. It's like, well, I don't deal with that. But if you learn about that, you are only just great for your client. That was my philosophy on it.
Yeah, I agree with that. So if you didn't have that background like Ellen does, go meet with at least 3 lenders. They will take you out for a steak dinner, I bet, at Capitol Grill. At this point, they are looking for new agents to really invest into. Go meet with 3 lenders, ask them the questions, like, what are the programs that most buyers in this area are really using right now? What are the programs I should know about that I don't know about? Roland, is there anything I'm missing on that piece? I'm going to pick on you now that I know that you're our.
There's a lot to learn about lending. I started in lending, and what you should know also is that different banks have different programs, and they qualify people at different level because they have investors that they invest on, and they have different type of guidelines. So my suggestion is, don't stick just with one lender. Try to diversify on the lenders, because even FHA has different guidelines for different organizations. Brokers have a little more leeway. Banks are a little more restrict, but reach out to as many people as you can, and you'll learn a lot from different experiences, and then stick to the one that help you the most.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Now, full disclosure, I am married to a loan officer, and I still have other loan officers I use for that very reason. It's because a bank can offer different programs. Not my husband's company cannot do a program for a mobile house, let's say, or for commercial stuff. So you want to make sure that every element of your business you have a professional lender for. So absolutely, to Roland's point, there are different programs with different companies. Go meet those people. Thank you very much for adding that. Okay, so let's keep moving on. I think I'm going to roll out the slideshow here. Yes, I am. Okay. Here we go. Can you guys see my screen? Is it the slideshow? All right. Well, it's a good start. So today is session 13. We're going to qualify potential buyers and sellers. The objective for today is we're going to identify where and how to lead generate for buyers and sellers. Now, all right, I'm going to hold my thought on that for a minute. Number 2, we're going to classify leads by the ability and motivation motivation that they have, the ability and motivation that they have to buy or sell. And then the third thing we're going to do is qualify a buyer and seller in preparation for an appointment. So we have a lot to cover today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, as I just said, those three things that we're going to really review today, I would love for you to start thinking like, what questions, now that you've been in the business for 30 days, a few months, maybe a year or 2 or 30, what are a couple of questions that you would want answered today? Please put those in the chat. And I'm going to have Rhonda keep an eye on the chat because I can't see the chat anymore. So if you could look at the chat for me. What questions do you think from those three things, identifying where and how to lead generate for buyers and sellers, classify the leads with the ability and motivation, and then the third thing is qualify buyers and sellers in preparation for an appointment. So what questions do you think you could have? So give it about a minute to think about it, and we're going to put those in the chat. This is supposed to be a group activity, but because we're all together here on Zoom, we're going to do it together as a group. Do we have any questions there in the chat? This is where we are today, the lead follow-up.
Justin, what page are you on?
So I am on page, does it say a page on here? In the participant guide? Maybe 13.6. Session 13, page 6. Figure that out on the fly. See how quick I am? So I did drop the participation guide in the chat section. If you didn't have it downloaded already, we are on session 13 and this is page 6 that I'm on.
So Ellen says buyers, are they currently working with someone? And buyers, have they talked to a lender?
So the question is buyers that are already working with somebody, and the question of, are they working with a lender? That's a question that you have. Okay, great. We're absolutely going to work through that. And first and
Oh, I'm
foremost,
sorry. No, I must have misunderstood. I thought you asked what questions would be asked to these prospective buyers and sellers. I misunderstood the
gotcha.
question.
It's okay. Yeah, no, I was asking you guys what questions you would have throughout the session today on these objectives. Yet, those are great things because that's probably one of the first questions that I would ask is, are you working with any other real estate professionals?
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's what we're supposed to ask. Kind of like you're right. You need to say that up front because you don't want to get in trouble.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. And then the second question, you're absolutely right, is, are you pre-approved to purchase a property, right? So that's a follow-up question. We actually have a really fun buyer lead sheet in today's class, and it's in your participation guide. And what I would tell you is print that out. I know we're in 2022, almost 2023, and paper is kind of going out the backside, but I still like paper. I would print that buyer lead sheet and the seller lead sheet out, memorize it, and fill that baby out. Like that is a really great tool that we're going to go over today. And those questions are on there. All right. Anything else in there?
So Roland says, how motivated are they to buy or to sell?
So that's what we're going to find out today. Great question. So we're actually going to come up with a system on identifying how motivated they are to buy or sell. All right. So where are we in today? Oh, we already went through today's agenda. I guess I'm a slide behind. Can I have one volunteer, and I need you to come off mute and have your camera on and read this quote, but the qualification to read this quote is you need to read it as loud as you can so everybody could hear it and really let it sink in. So can I have one volunteer to do that for me?
Your number one job as a real estate agent is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers.
Jason, that was really good. Can you do it one more time?
Your number one job as a real estate agent is to find ways to get in the path of motivated buyers and sellers.
You know what, Jason, you know what I loved about you reading that is that you really emphasize the biggest points of this, what Gary talks about. And what do you think that is? Which part of this little quote?
Motivated
Yes, absolutely. And you know what, and there's another big point in this, your number one job. When I first got into real estate, I did not know my number one job was to lead generate. I had no idea. I thought I was going to an office. They were going to place buyers and sellers into my car, or buyers at least into my car. I was going to take them around to 3 properties and they were going to pick one of the 3. That's what the TV show shows. Why wouldn't that be real life? Well, it's not, as we learn really quickly in the business. But thank you so much, Jason, for reading that. And please write this down or screenshot it or whatever you got to do if you don't have your participant guide. Your number one job as a real estate professional is to find ways to get in path of motivated buyers and sellers. Thank you so much. All right, let's keep going. Finding the motivated. That's what we're talking about right now. Now let's talk about myth understandings. And Rhonda, you could jump in anytime, please stop me. Myth understandings. What myths do you hold about finding buyers and sellers? Now this is for you. What is holding you back from finding a buyer or seller right now? I'm asking our group here.
Knowledge, not having enough knowledge to help them, or feel like you're gonna not be able to help them in any way. Like if they have questions or something like that, you won't have the answers, which you're not always gonna have the answers. But I think just, not being able, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I just don't know enough to, or act like I know enough where I can, be present and give them the information they're looking for. I don't know.
Whitley, I actually really agree with you. And I'll tell you, when that changed for me was when I had more confidence in what I was saying. And the only way that I was able to get more confidence is what I was saying was 1, understanding the forms that I was explaining, and 2, understanding real estate. Meaning I told you that I would take out the lenders and get their ear for hours on what the programs were. I also did that with home inspectors, because if you're knowledgeable on each piece of the real estate transaction, and you don't have to know it all, by the way, you just have to have enough knowledge about what's happening in your market and about real estate itself to sound very professional. Everything else we're going to back you up on.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are like, yeah, show value. And I'm like, okay, well, I think, to show value, you have to be knowledgeable about the business, right? And
you don't have to know it all. I want to make sure we take that myth out, because a lot of people are like, I'm going to wait to go do a listing presentation because I have to know everything. We need to take that right out off the table, and we need to go learn and experience. You have a lot of mentors, and this class alone is going to give you the systems and models and tools you need. Yet just absorb what you can right now. The biggest thing is go experience it, because you will be able to put your system models and tools together from what you're learning every day. This every day is going to be a learning experience. Okay, we have Jason, you're up.
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you. So I got to share this. I was licensed in 2020. I just renewed my license on September 4th. I have a lot of real estate conversations. I'm brand spanking new, baby with the wrapper still on, but no one ever asks me, how long have you been doing this? And I believe that the more we put ourselves in front of people like you, Jennifer, and classes like Ignite, the more we get with our market center and our fellow realtors and talk about real estate. I try to dive in and just ask crazy questions, throw myself into scenarios. I've reached out to home inspectors. I made a friend. I actually went up on a property on the roof with a contractor and all the way down. We went through the whole house for this particular.
I don't recommend that. Disclaimer, I don't recommend doing that to anybody.
You should. But I'm also interested in investing in it. So I went up with him to see what it is. Yeah. But I realized that no one's asking about the things that we're scared of if we present ourselves, because I came from a retail management background. So I already had that ability to connect with my audience. I'm also a singer, so it's easy. So whatever you are, wherever you bring with you, I feel.
Some notes before we end class. I need to hear some notes from you. So,
Oh, I will sing. I'll sing you a song.
but I agree. I agree. So let me just put a dot to the end of your sentence here. You are absolutely so correct. So many of us on this call, there are 33 of us, right? 33 of us, we have transferable skills. From anything we did, whether it is from school or from a job or whatever it is, you have that ability already inside of you. And now taking it to this level and talking real estate, you don't have to be 20 years in the business to be a professional. You could be 30 days, you could be 1 day. Just start knowing your numbers, your market, and everything we're talking about already. Okay.
So in the chat, Jen.
Yes.
Crystal said, feeling like a pushy salesperson and being annoying.
Okay, I'm gonna answer that in a minute
Yeah.
for sure, because
Mhm.
that was something I struggled with early on in my real estate day, and I've actually mentally was able to change that thought by one thing. Okay, so help me with pronouncing your name because I just don't want to say it wrong. Your hand is up.
Ariel?
Okay, good. Okay, Ariel. I just didn't want to.
No, that's okay. I just wasn't sure if anybody else's hand was up. The way Zoom
Yeah.
presents it, I'm like, maybe there's somebody else. So,
Hi, Ariel.
hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I just wanted to, so for me, like the biggest misunderstanding, it's not really a misunderstanding at this point because I've been in the business a year and I've sold a few houses, but I still struggle really badly with putting together systems. Systems for lead generation specifically. The houses that I've sold for the most part have been like connections I've made with people in having conversations with people. Like I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis to try to make a connection, like whether I'm at Starbucks or at a bakery or wherever the day might have taken me, I'll make connections there. But I struggle with the system part of it. But I just wanted to basically touch on what Jason had said. I feel like in my experience, like in this past year, 90% of my job is like confidence and like 10% is knowledge, in the sense that like, if you confidently tell your client that you don't know the answer and that you're either going to reach out to a lender or an inspector, or that they should reach out to their lender, or they should reach out to their inspector, or they should reach out to their appraiser, or whatever the case may be. If you do this with confidence, I feel like people tend to trust you. It's when you, like, for lack of a better word, it's when you lie and say that you know something that you don't for fear of disappointing your client, that like all that trust goes out the window. Like they're looking at you like, do you know what you're doing? And like, again, like he said, I've never had somebody be like, how long have you been doing this? Nobody's ever asked me that, because like, I feel like if you come to the table with confidence about the things that you do know, and you're 100% honest about the things that you do not know, and getting the correct answer, you just have like a way better transaction and like just all around relationship and with that client or with any client.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I hope everybody on this call heard what you just said, because that is spot on. You and Jason basically have exactly it, right? That's it. You build your confidence in what you're saying, doing. You have it. You already have it. The knowledge of real estate is coming. You will get it by experience, but you can't get it if you don't go through the experiences of doing. So go do it. Thank you so much, Ariel. And, I want to address Crystal's feeling pushy and like a salesperson. When I first got into the business, and realizing that, oh, they don't just give me the buyers and listings. I had to go out and find them myself. And I struggled with that. One thing changed my mindset, and it was helping people buy, sell, invest in real estate. I'm helping them. I'm not selling them anything. I'm helping their life by design, by selling a property, buying a property, investing in a property, a vacation home, a rental, or whatever it is. I'm helping them, and it would be unprofessional of me if I didn't, because I'm able to provide them a service that is going to be better in my eyes, right? Better than they would if I didn't help them. So it was about helping people. And so anytime that I made a call to my data bank or my community, it would be, hi, Rhonda, this is Jen. And she already knows it's Jen. Hi, Jen. And I would say, Rhonda, just so you know, this year I set a goal of helping 20 families buy, sell, invest, or rent in real estate. Do you know anybody that is interested in that? And you know what? One out of every so often, probably about 20 calls or so, they would say, no, but I know somebody. And then the other 1 out of 20, they would say, actually, Jen, we've been thinking about a vacation home. Actually, Jen, we are thinking about buying an investment property down in Westerly or wherever, whatever. So changing that mindset of you're helping and not being sales in your own mind changes the whole thing for you. Any questions on that? All right, Rhonda, what do you want to add anything?
I was just gonna say that with the script that you just said, Jen, is one of my favorite scripts ever, because it really is about helping. And when you are calling people, you're just having a conversation, and we're gonna talk later about where most buyers start their home search. And really it's through referrals, which are people that we already know, people who love us, people who already think we're amazing. And those are just amazing calls. And using that script that Jen just said is a super easy way of letting people know, right off the bat, that you're just here to help, and who can you help in their world accomplish this thing. So like, that's like my favorite.
Awesome. It's mine too, because it really has changed the way I looked at things. And when you change the way you look at things, things change. It's a bold law, and it's so true. And if you don't know what bold is, it's basically the 10x of this course to get you into some serious business sales. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one here. I know I'm running a little bit late, I'm sure. I have chats up. All right. Sorry, guys, I'm not both technology. What am I doing? I don't even know. All right.
Oh, so this was what I was talking about.
Yes, you want to touch on this one?
Yeah, so I love this. I absolutely love this graph and love these numbers and these stats. So this is how buyers have found their agent. So in looking at this, who can tell us what is the number one place that buyers are finding the agent that they want to work with?
Referral.
From a referral, right? From referral from their friend, their neighbor, or their relative. So what does that mean for us as realtors? Who should we be spending a lot of our time talking to?
Your sphere.
Exactly. Thank you, Whitley. Yes, by talking to our sphere and making sure that our sphere, we are top of mind with them, and that they remember on a daily basis that we are here to help others buy, sell, and invest in real estate. When somebody they know comes to them and says, hey, I'm thinking of putting our home on the market, they could say, oh my God, you have to call Ellen. Ellen was our realtor. She did an amazing job. Or, right, for those of us that are new in real estate, they might say, oh my gosh, you know what? My friend Crystal, I know she just got her real estate license and she's working with Keller Williams Realty. She is such an amazing person. She's so giving and compassionate. I would absolutely love for you to have a conversation with her. Now, the only way that that person is going to know that Crystal is just got her license and that she's working with Keller Williams Realty is by the fact that we're reaching out to our database, which is our data bank, and letting them know, hey, I just got my real estate license. And I'm so excited to be partnered with Keller Williams Realty. And this is why. Because even though I'm brand new in the business, I have the most amazing mentor. One of our top agents in our office has partnered with me to make sure that I know from the get-go how to service clients. I know everything I need to know about real estate. So anyone that you know that's buying, selling, or investing, they're going to get a 2-for-1. By talking to me, they're also going to be able to talk to Belinda, who is our #1 agent in our market center. And just by having those conversations, when it comes time for a buyer to find their agent and they're going to somebody they know to ask for a referral, you are going to be top of mind. So I love that. This slide gets me very, very, very excited.
You want to go on to the next one?
Sure.
All right. Did it?
So the next one here, so how sellers found their agent. And unsurprisingly, right, by looking at it, the two top ways that a seller finds their agents are right? Back to, it's a referral from a friend, neighbor, or relative. The second top way is by using an agent that they previously have had a transaction with. So what does that tell us that we should be doing on a daily basis based on those top two ways that sellers are finding their agent? What, aside from talking to everybody we know to let them know we're in real estate and to remind them we're in real estate, what's the second thing that, who's that second group of people that we should be reaching out to?
Checking back on transactions you've already had when they come up on the 30-day mark or the 3-month mark or the 6-month mark, or you sold your house with me a year ago, you sold your house with me 5 years ago. But like just making sure that the person who you sold a house to, because usually people sell houses, I think it's like once every 7 years or so, or buy houses once every 7 years, like reaching out to them to make sure that when they come to that point, they don't forget who their realtor was. So many people just forget who they used because they never talk to them again.
You know what, Ariel, that's such a good point. And you know what? There are people in your phone, your data bank right here, that bought houses 5 to 7 years ago that their agent does not connect with them anymore. So who in your phone are you going to connect with to now be their real estate professional?
I actually have a great story. I was on a home inspection yesterday, and I was talking with an agent who has been in the business a long time. He's been in the business at least 25 years, and we were just, chit-chatting a little bit while the inspector was walking around doing his thing. And he was asking me, as a lot of agents start to talk and say, hey, how's business? How's things going in your world, et cetera. And this agent literally said to me yesterday, he said, I really haven't done a great job of staying in touch with my past clients. And he said, it actually physically hurts when you see somebody that you sold a house to and that they now listed the house with somebody else years later. And he said, and I know it's because I didn't stay in touch with them and they probably didn't remember my name when it came time for them to list their house. And he said, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do a better job at getting back in front of all of my past clients and just saying hello and reminding them that I'm here. And he said, once a week, I'm going to take one of them out to dinner. He said, I have to eat every day. I eat 3 meals a day. And so I'm going to make it a point to go and make sure one of those meals is with one of my past clients on a weekly basis. If you take one of your past clients to dinner, the $100 that you're going to spend on dinner is going to be well worth it in the long run, because they're going to appreciate it. They're going to appreciate being back in touch with you, because you don't realize sometimes we forget the impact that we have on our clients' lives as we help them through the process of buying and selling. They are so grateful for you and so grateful for the guidance that you gave them, that when you stay in touch with them and that you show them that you still care, that they weren't just a transaction to you, that you truly care about the relationship that you formed, it is going to just go such a long way. And when they are talking to somebody who's thinking of transacting in real estate, they're going to say, you have to call Jen because she is amazing. She is the only person I'm going to buy or sell with. And I would love for you to call her. And that feels really good when you get that referral, that somebody puts that trust in you. Does anybody else want to have a story to share around this, or thoughts, questions, misunderstandings?
Yeah, what are your ahas so far? We're in about 40 minutes in session, and we'd love to hear what your ahas are for the last 40 minutes from our start to myth understandings. And these stats alone are, like, again, if you don't have the participant guide printed out, snapshot the picture of this on the screen and look at it, because it's so important. Referrals. You have people. Tiffany Hampton is our regional productivity coach for Keller Williams New England. She showed us a statistic that showed that out of every 100 people, one person is going to buy, sell, invest, or rent in real estate this year in 2023. Out of every 100 people. Now, I'm sure you guys have done this, and I am going to go to Lindsay soon in a minute. How many of you have checked how many contacts you have either on Facebook, Instagram, the Tweety thing, or TikTok, or this phone right here? Let's go, Lindsay. Let me just do this really quickly, and then I'm going to come right to you. Go onto your phone. I know you guys have probably already done this, but I want you to go onto your phone, go into the contacts, I only speak Apple. I'm so sorry. I can't speak Android or anything else like that. If you go to your contacts, and then on the very bottom right of your screen, there's a number sign. Hit that number sign, and it'll bring you all the way to the bottom of your phone. And it shows you how many contacts you have. I have 1,646. I do understand some of those numbers are co-brokes. Some of those numbers are people I keep in there that I don't want to call. Yet there are going to be a significant amount. Let's even say half of those, right? If I took what's half of 1,600? I don't do math.
Half a
800.
500 and something.
800. 16. Rhonda doesn't do math either, so we're gonna stick to Ellen and whoever else.
The merge duplicates button on my phone that I didn't know existed. I'm sorry. I was like,
Squirrel happening over here. Okay, so even if I did 800, that means I have 8 buyers, sellers, investors ready to go right now. Anybody okay with adding 8 clients to your database or your
This year
pipeline
alone,
this year? Yeah, I would be.
That's a yearly number.
Okay, Lindsay, I'm going to go to you, and then we're going to go back into how do we make sure that we get those 8. All right, go ahead, Lindsay.
So I just wanted to add something when you were talking about keeping in touch with your past clients who you've sold houses to. If you've ever listed a house, keep in touch with the abandoned buyer, because I have actually had a couple of listings recently that the buyers only bought like 2 or 3 years ago, and they're already selling, and their agent didn't do a good job of keeping in touch with them. So,
Do you know that's the biggest challenge is the follow-up? I mean, it's the follow-up. And so many, I actually fell into that boat. I didn't do a good enough job for the first 10 years of being in the business because nobody gave me a system model tool. Now I'm going to take ownership of it, and that's on me too for not coming up with one. Yet when I got to Keller Williams, they gave me everything I needed to do it easily. And that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to be able to set up a system for you guys so it's easy for your clients, for you to stay in contact with your clients because you have a system behind it. The only thing you will have to do is take action on a couple of steps. So let's go into command for a minute. Does it show command on there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And Jen, before you do that,
yes.
Can I just say one last thing about our contacts?
Yes.
Is we were just saying that a lot, and for Jen and I both, a lot of the contacts in our databases are co-broke agents. If you have any co-broke agents that are in your database that are not in the same area of you, they're not in the same state as you, those are also great people for you to stay in touch with, and they're part of your sphere because that could result in referrals for people that are moving into your area. Who knows an agent who is not licensed in the state that you work in. So absolutely different plan. They're right. They're not buyers, sellers, or investors. They are just a referral source for you. So different plan, different follow-up system for them, but just keep it in the back of your mind that it is another source of being able to have those relationships where they're the agent that they call when they have somebody that's moving into your area. So I just wanted to touch on that because they're a great referral source for all of us. And Keller Williams agents love to refer to Keller Williams agents. And by just being in relationship with those agents in other market centers across the world, across the nation, there's a lot of opportunity there for all of us. So I just wanted to say that.
All right. So let's talk about command now. Rhonda, I'm actually going to turn it over to you because you're using this on a daily basis with your business. So let's talk a little bit about how you use opportunities in command to keep your business on track.
Yep, absolutely. So command is, I came to Keller Williams in 2018. And at the time I had been in business about 11 years at that time, joined Keller Williams. And we didn't have command when I first joined. And I remember being at family reunion when Gary Keller was on stage and they announced command was coming. And I am a little bit of like a techno geek that I just love technology and things that make my life easy. And I can remember seeing the like infomercial, if you will, for when Command was coming out. And I was so excited for it to come alive and for it to get put into play. So I love Command. Now, doesn't really matter what system you use as long as you're using a system. However, Command is something that we all have access to.
Can you talk louder?
Oh, yes. I'm moving a little closer. Yes. So Command is something we all have access to through our Keller Williams ecosystem. It's something, it's there. It doesn't cost us any additional money on a monthly basis. So I highly suggest that you use it. If you're not using it now, it's okay. Just start using it tomorrow. Using opportunities. So when you put a contact into Command, in their interface where you can see everything about that contact, you can add notes on them, you can add all information about them. On the right-hand side, the window on the right-hand side is going to show your timeline of communication with them. So if you're emailing them, Command will connect to your email address and it'll show you emails that you have gone back and forth with that contact. Opportunities is another little window there. And an opportunity means that there is an opportunity to transact with this contact either as a seller or a buyer. So when you create an opportunity, and what you see on the screen there, the top says buyers, the leases is there. There's another section for sellers that they're not showing. And you have all of those categories. So you can set up this particular buyer as somebody who is cultivate, appointment, active, under contract. So we're going to talk about A, B, and C buyers and sellers today in this session. You can categorize for our team. Everybody has different rules. For my team, we create an opportunity based on at what point in time they're going to transact, because we want to at any time look at our pipeline. We use opportunities as our pipeline. So we can see how many buyers we currently have just in the cultivate phase. They're not ready to do something yet. They might be ready to purchase in 6 months or a year out. There's somebody we want to stay in touch with. We want to make sure that we're providing information to them and that we're staying top of mind. Appointment is somebody that we're actively, we have the buyer consultation with them and they are committed to working with us, and we are starting to send them properties. They're going through the pre-approval process. Active means we're showing them properties. These are buyers that we need to be in touch with every week to make sure we're looking at the market. We're sending them things that they should be looking at. And then under contract is self-explanatory. Then that's somebody that's under contract. There's checklists for all of these. This tool is super powerful for you to be able to look at your business on a daily basis and know who is who, where they are, and what you need to do for them next to make sure that they're sliding through the process.
So how many of you on here can see that if you really dial into using this system, because this is a system, if you use this system, that you will not fall in the category of being left behind when they're ready to buy, sell, invest, or rent in real estate?
Yes.
Rhonda,
I'm excited about it.
by experience, is going to say, heck yes, me. Here's the thing, 90% of us on this call will not use the system that is set up for you to be top of mind. I challenge you to go into Command, look at it a little more. The region has Command plus how to educate you on how to use this in the best way. And some of you say technology, like throw it out the window. If you have a smartphone, you are techie. Sorry, that's the deal. We're in a technology era. So regardless of if you don't want to do it because you're not techie, you're doing it. And this is the way for you to stay top of mind in real estate. All right, let's keep moving. The next slide is ahas. We already did that just a slide or two ago. So we're going to move on to one of my favorite parts here is really identifying and classifying able, ready, and willing buyers and sellers. So I have a quote on here. I'm going to again ask for a volunteer to read this as loud as they can, and I'll probably ask you to read it twice, as I did with Jason, and read it for our group. Who do I have for a volunteer? Please, David. Thank you.
Focus becomes increasingly possible in direct proportion to how clear you are about what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it.
All right, let's soak that in for about a second so, and read it one more time a little louder.
Focus becomes increasingly possible in direct proportion to how clear you are about what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it.
Thank you. What did you guys get from that? What resonated with you as David read that twice? And thank you, David, for letting me know.
I'm just gonna say, David, you have a great recordable voice. Your voice is, yeah, other people are not have your voice is just very recordable. That's what I got. Sorry.
That sounded like an audiobook. I have to agree. Sounded like an audiobook.
All right, so this is a squirrel moment where we go to David's voice. And that's why we have other people read these quotes, because you know what, sometimes when you hear it differently, and you know what, Jason has a singable voice, so we're going to get some songs from Jason later. But thank you for reading that. I do want to hear what did you guys really, what resonated with you with this quote? I need one thing from someone, because there's something in there that resonated with me.
The direct proportion part, because I'm missing the proportion.
The direct portion, yep, on how clear you are. You know what it is for me? It is what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it, is what that last piece of this is so important to me. What do you want? Why did you get your real estate license? When do you want it? Do you want to get a commission in the next 90 days? Well, what do you have to do to get it? And you know what? You guys are here, so you want it and you want to get it. Here's the thing. The only way to do that is to actually put this stuff into action. When we talked earlier about your success system of that daily 10 things to do, if you're not doing that right now, that's it. What do you want? You want to be successful in real estate. When do you want it? I want it as soon as possible. What do you must do to get it? Action. That's what resonates with me on this. Anyone else? All right, we'll keep going. Let's talk about able, ready, and willing. You have your three circles here. Your able's on the top, your willing's your bottom left, and your ready is your bottom right circle. All right, let's get to that one. Rhonda, do you want to dive into this?
Sure. So on the screen there, underneath able, ready, and willing, it says come from curiosity. Right. So the only way that you're going to determine if a seller or a buyer is able, ready, and willing to buy, sell, or invest in real estate is by what?
That's a question for our group.
What do you have to do? How are you going to find out if they're able, ready, and willing?
By talking to them, having a conversation.
Yeah, by having a conversation, absolutely. But during that conversation, what should you be doing?
Asking questions.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Ooh.
Absolutely. Yes, and it it was very dramatic. That was awesome. Asking questions. You can have a conversation, and a lot of this, sometimes a lot of us fall into this, especially if you're nervous on the phone, right? And if you're trying to prove yourself to the person you're talking to, because maybe you don't have all of the confidence that you feel that you should have at the moment. And we have a conversation and we don't ask a single question. We just tell them everything that we think that they need to know during that conversation. Has that happened? Has anybody done that? And we're in a safe space here. So raise your hand if you have had a conversation like that, where you just had basically told everybody what you think they know and forgot to ask them anything, and not be the absolute first person to raise my hand in that. And has that ever happened to you in a conversation that you were having with somebody where all they did was just talk to you, but they didn't even ask you a single question. Does that ever happen to anybody? That's happened to me. I can
Yes,
remember
absolutely.
when I got my license, and I was actually interviewing real estate companies at the time, and I sat with a broker who I spent an hour and a half with him, and they never even once asked me what my goals were in real estate. I left that meeting like I was kind of scratching my head a little because I literally didn't say a word during the whole conversation. And I realized that wasn't the right place for me. So, but for him, he was just trying to tell me all the great things about his company and, you know, telling, but he forgot to ask me what was actually important to me. And I carry that with me, and I try to always remember. And one thing we say to our team all the time is, even when you think you've asked every possible question to the person you're speaking with, ask 2 more questions. Find 2 more questions to ask them. So the only way. Yep, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I liked what you said. It also, you said you won't forget it, and neither will a client, a potential client. Like, you know, they never even asked me, so why would I go? That might be a good opportunity. If you thought about it later, you know what, I didn't even ask. Then you go back.
Exactly.
You say, you know what, I thought about this, and you know, can I do this over? Then they'll remember that, right?
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. You're right, Ellen. And if you catch yourself in a conversation with somebody where you're like, all of a sudden you're just like, oh my God, I've just been sitting here talking. A great conversation to say is, oh my gosh, I have just been so excited just to talk to you about real estate. Just what Ellen said, you know what, I didn't even ask you. I'd like to actually go back to the beginning, and I'd like to ask you some questions now so that I can get to know what you're looking for and how I can best help you. Okay, so
The next slide is one of my favorites. So again, I'm going to tell you this a lot. Screenshot. I guess I have to click this one. Talk about being techie. This screen right here, screenshot it or circle it in your book, dog ear it, whatever you got to do. This is a great way to really understand what is happening in your pipeline or how many people you need to talk to get the income that you're looking to make in the real estate world this year, next year, and beyond. So let's talk about this really quickly. An A buyer or seller, they are able, ready, and willing to do business with you today and within the next 2 weeks. That's your A buyer. How many of us have A buyers right now?
great.
Are you talking to them every day? We need to. That's your money makers. That's changing people's lives. Who is that? Who is that? Is that Ellen? Ellen, your background is like fuzzy, like.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was showing, we were texting this morning, and
There you go.
we were both each other emojis. So yeah, we keep in touch. We're still going. I make sure she's still motivated all the time. She put an offer that she got outbid by a cash buyer. So.
You know what? Staying in contact with them and making sure they understand that you are there with them no matter what. And Valerie, I see that your buyer got cold feet. It happens. Their feet will get warm again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just by us staying in contact with them and making sure that they know that you care, that you're there for them, and you're the professional that's going to help them make the decision. You're not making the decision for them. Go ahead.
My buyer is she's what she's looking for, like she's ready. She's been looking for the past 6 months, ready, able. She was working with a prior realtor before, but so every offer she's put in has gotten not accepted, but I think the amount that she got pre-approved for in the location she's looking for is just very, I mean, there's not enough inventory for her. You know, she's trying to look for something in Boston for $230,000 worth of pre-approval letter. And so it's just, you know, it's just.
This is a great opportunity, Whitley, for you to sit with her and have an expectations conversation. And you will be the first professional that's going to do that with her. And really find out, ask her the questions of tell me about your motivation and tell me about your criteria. Because if we can't change your financial aspect of what you're qualified for, what we might need to adjust is your criteria of what you're looking for. And if your criteria doesn't meet the area we're looking in, are you okay with us looking in a different area that meets that criteria of your financial backing? Does that
Because
make
I think it's gonna expire in October. Like she has like 3 or 4 weeks now, to find something.
She will be able to renew that, even though if your pre-approval expires, you just have to be in contact with your lender and say, just so you know, we're still looking at properties. Can you make sure that we have a pre-approval ready for the next 30 days?
Okay.
And you know what, by the way, with that note, as soon as you know that it can get extended and that she's still able to purchase, that lender should be on call. So that way they could draft your pre-approval custom to your offer. That's another conversation for another day. Yeah, just wanted to make sure that I noted that. I also want to note, Crystal, thank you for recommending the book, because I am absolutely all about reading or listening to books on, in my car. I was going to say on tape. I was just going to date myself. I love that. And I'm actually going to order it. So
You actually did. I just multitasked.
Okay.
And it's on my Audible, waiting for me on my
All right.
drive home today.
thank you for that.
I was going to say, Roland might even be able to speak to this as well, because he has lending background. An approval letter doesn't expire. So what they would do, at the end of that term, and I think they talked about this in another group, another one of the Ignite meetings, is it's a soft credit pull. It gets renewed. No buyer, it's been a whole year, same thing, just continues on. Now, unless they are doing something significant, buying something, getting additional credit, Feds just hiked the rate again. So that would be, the only thing she would want to have an issue is what is that lock rate it's going to be at this point. But thinking that it's going to expire doesn't stop anything. You can do that for 2-3 years if you had to. That should never stop what you're doing.
It's just keeping it current.
She's
That's
just afraid that her credit is gonna be messed up because of it. That's her issue.
Yeah.
You can even do a 3-way call. I've done that before with the lender. So everyone clearly understands this is not ruining your credit. That's not the point of what you're doing in this process. I think it'd be a good opportunity to learn something from the lender as well.
Absolutely.
By the way, that's a myth that if you pull more than one credit score, it's going to affect your credit. They use that for, sales, strategies, I guess. It could be the thing that would change your score more rapidly would be if you charge your credit card, or if you charge your credit card, or you do something drastically with your credit. That's it.
Thank you for adding that, Roland. Okay, let's keep moving on if you guys are okay with that, unless we have any other questions. Oh, no, I'm sorry. And please pronounce your first name so I do not mess that up.
Mahesh.
Thank you.
So I have an able and willing buyer because of the interest is going up every day. So he changed his mind. So I don't know how to convince him, but he don't want to do any contract so this time, but I am planning to be in contact with him whenever he's ready to buy. But because of the interest he changed his mind.
So that's a qualifying or consultation that I would do with him. And it's an expectation call. It is something I learned to do. I didn't do it when I was early on in my career. I didn't do hey, let's sign a buyer representation agreement. That's what it's called here in Rhode Island. I don't know what it's called in other states. Buyer representation agreement was the agreement between us to work together. And I always had a caveat that it's a guarantee that if you do not want to continue working with me, we could rip our contract up at any time. I had a separate guarantee that went with that. I understand what you're saying, that he does not want to do that. I think it's just an education thing. When I was able to sit down with buyers and fully go through a consultation with them to show them, one, what I'm going to be doing with them, for them, and through the process with them, there was never a conversation of, oh, I'm not going to sign that. It was educating them through the entire process and letting them know that, one, it's not going to cost them anything unless there is no commission being offered on the other side, which does not happen.
I did talk to him about that, but he said that there's no point of looking for the house if I'm not gonna buy it on this much interest rate. That's
Sorry,
what
on this what? I didn't get that last part.
interest rates of the,
Not to like butt in,
yeah.
but I've gotten that objection. We call it an objection a lot. And so for me personally, and obviously I would do my research on your end. I don't know where you're located or I don't know anything about your market, but when clients come to me in this market about interest rates, I try to like always stress to them that like you can refinance your home loan. You can't refinance the price you paid for your house. And as we get deeper and deeper just in time, as land gets bought up, like there's only so much land on the earth. It's only guaranteed to rise in price. So you might get your house for less today and your interest rate might be higher and you can refinance that interest rate. But if you wait 3 years, I can guarantee you that the house you were looking at today will have gone up at least $75,000 in equity. And you're going to end up paying that interest in the home itself and never be able to refinance that. If that makes
That's a
sense.
really good answer.
So what I would use in that case is historical data of what happens when purchasing a property. I personally wouldn't guarantee any equity amount because I will tell you, I was in the market of 2008 through 2000 and whatever, that was awful. And if I guaranteed somebody equity in their property in 2007, that it was going to go, I would have, oh,
No, I'm not guaranteeing equity in the property. So like if said bought, I'm saying that like if you were to come back to this house and try to buy it 3 years later and it's already been sold, there's a really good chance that the price has gone up in the 3 years. It's very unlikely that it's going to be at the same price point that it was 3 years ago. And that difference.
That's why I would use the historical data for that. So it shows them exactly what happens with that for sure. Thank you for adding that. Okay. So you have your A buyers, your B buyers are 15 days to 60 days. Who do you have in that category right now? How do we need to communicate with them in the next days ahead to make sure that they are going under contract, making offers within 15 to 60 days from now? What do you have to do to make that happen? And then you have your C buyers that are anybody 61 days plus out. And we have a whole bunch of those in our data bank. That's how you indicate each person in your data bank. So Rhonda's going to start diving into that. I have to jump off and go host a sales meeting. So thank you guys for letting me be on for the first half or so of Ignite today. I will be back on again at some point, but I really do appreciate being here and I love the engagement, guys. Thank you so much, Jason. I still would like to hear some notes from you at some point.
Thanks,
So
Jennifer.
thank you. All right, Rhonda.
Okay, I'm gonna
Switching
slide
over.
over to Jen's screen. Thank you, Jen. We'll see you after. Okay. All right, so we are now, oh, because you have the two screens here. Okay, so if I change it on this one, it'll change. Yeah. She's very techie over here. So let me see. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna try to do, nope, hold on, give me a minute here. There we go. Okay, so we don't have to talk about any more ahas because you've all been so great in sharing. Before we move on to the next slide, I'll just open it up for any last comments on what we just talked about. Brendan, I saw that you had put in the chat that you were looking for the definition of able, ready, and willing. We are going to define exactly what that is, so just sit tight on that. You didn't miss it. Any other ahas that anyone would like to talk about before we move on to the next section?
Mine was a question, but she ran away. So I want to ask Jennifer a question about what historical data should we present when talking about the buy? And I'm thinking, are we pulling like MLS sales history? What are we like on a particular property? Like, what are we using to what historical data are we presenting to the buyers to help to kind of nudge them along?
Yep, absolutely. So one of the things as well, if I can find it before the end of the class too, I'll put the link in the chat. So Gary Keller gets on stage. At Keller Williams, for a lot of the associates here that are brand new, we have 2 large events every year. It's our family reunion event, which is always in February. And we have Mega Camp, which just happened a few weeks ago in Austin, Texas. And at both of those events, Gary Keller himself takes the stage and he gives us an overview of the status of the real estate market. And what he does is he goes through all that historical data that shows what home prices have done historically over the years. And he goes all the way back to, I think, like 1980 and brings it all the way up to current. So the historic data that Jen was talking about is that historically, home prices have elevated 4% year over year. That's typically the line that we are on and the trajectory that we've been on. Now, in the last couple of years with the market, they've risen a lot more than that, right? Because of just what has happened in the market, the lack of inventory in the market. So it's been actually more than 4% the last couple of years. However, historically, year over year, it's usually a 4% increase in what home prices will do. And he illustrates that. So he releases those slides to his presentation. He goes through everything from home prices to mortgage rates, to the GDP, to buying power. His presentation is very powerful, and I absolutely invite you to take a look at it. And you can use some of those slides in your presentation. He shares his PowerPoint with us, so that way you can pick out some of those slides as you're talking to clients about that. That's the data that you have to back up when you're having those conversations with them. If you go on to, if you're in Command, if you go on to Connect, so if you're in Command at the top of your screen, it'll say Command, and right next to it, it'll say Connect. If you click on Connect and you search in there, Connect is like our intranet system. Gary's slides are in there, and I'll try to find it before the end of the class so I can just pop the link on. But it's very, very powerful. And he does that twice a year for us. He talks about what's going on in the Keller Williams company, and he talks about what's going on in the market, because the one thing that Gary Keller, Mark King, who's the president of the company, one thing that we all stress is that as real estate agents, we should be the economist of choice for our clients. And James Shaw, who I just went to his shift, he did a shift event in August, I think it was, in Massachusetts. James Shaw, who's one of our KW University teachers, he is on the Shivit Pipped Ahead Facebook group. If you're not in that Facebook group, he's on every morning, I think at 8 a.m., just doing a 20-minute talk. One of the things that James Shaw instills in us as agents, our job is to provide perspective of the market to our clients. We're here to provide perspective. Look at all of that data and provide perspective. So you'll hear in talking with, Keller Williams, with our executive staff, our market center leadership, that we're always talking about that stuff to our agents, because it's very important just to remember that that's what our job is. We're here to be the local real estate expert. So our clients feel like if they have a real estate question, they're going to pick up the phone, Jason, and they're going to call you and ask you, because they want to know what your perspective is. Does that make sense? It's very exciting, right? And I come from, before September 1st, I was actually the team leader of our market center. I was team leader for the last 2 years with Jen in Jen's market center. I just shifted back into full-time sales with my team. So now I'm teaching Ignite for the first time in 2 years as solely a real estate agent, just like all of you, who every day we're out there, we're prospecting, we're talking to our database. And I can tell you specifically, over the last 2 years, I wasn't really talking to my database because I was a full-time team leader. And so my business dwindled off naturally. Now I'm back, and I'm realizing again the importance of me being on the phone every day and having conversations. So I love that. And so I'll try to get that link for you, Jason, before the end of class. Okay, so back to where we're going next. So now we're going to talk about how do we actually qualify buyers and sellers. So Brendan had asked the question, well, what is an able, willing, and ready buyer or seller, right? So now we're going to talk about, okay, well, how do we figure it out? We have to qualify them to see if they are actually able to, which means that they are financially and legally able to enter into a real estate contract. Willing means that they actually have the desire and the motivation to make a real estate purchase or sell their home in the next 0 to 14 days. And ready means that they're actually ready to go. If they're a buyer, they've been pre-approved. If they're a seller, they have all of their things in order to be ready to go and ready to put that listing on the market. So we're going to talk about how to qualify. So I know it's here on the screen, but any other reasons as to why would you actually want to qualify to make sure somebody is able, ready, and willing to do a transaction?
So you don't waste your time.
Yeah, right. That you don't waste your time or your client's time, right? Sometimes they don't realize that they're not able. Sometimes they, they didn't get pre-approved. And if you didn't ask them if they were pre-approved and you just start taking somebody out and showing them homes, and then they realize that they actually can't afford to buy a house right now, it's a big letdown for them. And you've wasted your time. And chances are that maybe when they are actually able to do a transaction, they may not come back to you because they're just going to remember kind of that, oh, that wasn't a great experience for me. And so it all goes back to asking a lot of questions and making sure that you're asking enough questions to qualify them. Any other reasons why you would want to qualify, or what might happen if you didn't qualify a buyer or a seller?
So that you could possibly basically like see what the timeline would be for, obviously we can't say timeline because like it takes forever sometimes to find somebody a house. But what the timeline might be for a certain buyer or a certain client. So sometimes you meet a client and they already have a pre-approval letter, and that's great. I've had a couple clients that already came to me pre-approved. And we just like went right into the house buying process and like looking for houses and just like straight to the street. But then I've had more clients, especially as a new agent, because it tends to be that I feel like you pair up new agents, new buyers. Like they've never bought a house and you're new to the industry. Those clients, a lot of the times it's like education. They don't know where to even start. So I currently have a client. It's a husband and a wife. They have a child. This is their first time ever buying a home. So when I, set up my initial buyer consultation, I kind of always start with, well, tell me what you do now. Like, tell me what you know about the process or where you might be in the process if you already started. And then a lot of the times it's, I know nothing. I literally know absolutely nothing other than the fact that I believe, based on what everybody shares on social media, that I have the credit score, I have the money for like a down payment or closing costs, and I believe that I have the income. That's really all I know. And they get everything else from you. So knowing whether or not they're already qualified or pre-qualified kind of tells you how much information and how much time you'll have to spend with that buyer to get them like comfortable and up to speed to the able, willing, and ready scenario. Because like they might be able and they might be willing, but they might not be ready, or vice versa. Like you might only have 2 out of the 3 because they just don't know. It also gives you a great opportunity to connect with the lenders that you work closely with, because if buyers are coming to you unpre-approved, but you know that they can get pre-approved, gives you that opportunity to reach out to some of those people that bought those Capital Girl stakes and be like, hey, I have a buyer that needs pre-approval. Can we work together? Or I tend to send my buyers to 3 or 4 lenders because I don't ever want them to feel as though like there's some shisty thing between me and one lender. Like, go to these 4 lenders, let me know what they say, like, and we'll reconvene. But I feel like that's really one of the biggest reasons why I want to know if you're qualified or not, or like, just because I need to know where we are.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Ariel, is that if they haven't been through that process, one of the things that a lot of times you will hear buyers say, well, I think I'm probably pre-approved. for X amount of dollars, because maybe they've looked at a mortgage application or a mortgage app, a calculator online where they've just put in purchase prices and they are like, yeah, I think we can probably afford this payment. So they feel that they would, that is likely where they would be pre-approved. And you're absolutely right. They may not be taking into account the fact of what they need to have saved, not only for their down payment, but also for their closing costs, because there's going to be closing costs in most scenarios, not all, but in most scenarios, there's going to be closing costs. So you want to make sure that they're prepared and that they have all of that money saved that they need. Because again, you don't want to take them around and have them fall in love with a house to only find out that they can't afford it. They actually don't have the money to be able to get to the closing table.
I feel like that's probably like one of the biggest things that I encounter is a lot of new buyers have never even heard of closing costs. So they think that they're all set. They're like, well, I have $25,000 saved for a down payment. And I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. But we have to pay for appraisals. We have to pay for inspections and then you have to pay closing costs that can amount to sometimes $10,000. Like you don't know. And I can't tell you until we get there, and people are like, oh, I do not have an extra $6,000 or an extra $7,000. And then obviously you get into credits and like trying to make things work with the lender or the seller, but it all really kind of depends on where you sit. And if I don't know where you sit, some of those things aren't even possible. And we should like table this and like continue to talk until we get to a place in which you have more money saved or whatever the case may be. But closing costs, I feel like really blindside all new buyers. They're like, what do you mean I need more money?
Yep, exactly. And that's a conversation that their lender should be having with them at that pre-approval process. Okay, great. So we're going to move over to talking specifically about qualifying buyers using a buyer lead sheet. And now I don't know if this is in your participant guide. I kind of hope it is. Has anybody leafed through there? Do they have a copy of this in there?
Yeah, Jennifer pointed it out in the beginning, so that,
Okay,
you could print it off. So.
Perfect. Okay, great. So this buyer lead sheet, this is a great tool for you to have part of your system that when you are speaking to a buyer that you're filling this sheet out, right? You don't have to remember all of the questions that you need to ask, because if you just follow the form, you're just going to go through it and you're just going to fill it out. So do we want to do it together? I have a little buyer consultation here in my sheet that we can role play together. Does somebody want to do this with me? Do I have a volunteer? Somebody.
I'll volunteer.
All right, Jason. Okay. All right, so Jason, I will be the agent and you are going to be the consumer, okay?
Sure.
Okay, we're just going to go through this together. Hi, Jason. I'm excited to help you find your new home. By the way, since it doesn't have it here in my script here. By the way, my name is Rhonda Messenborg. I am the team leader at Alpern and Messenborg, and we are associated with Keller Williams Coastal in Rhode Island. I would absolutely love to help you start your home search. I would like to start with asking you a few questions to make sure that I give you the right customer experience and I can learn more about you so that I know how I can best help you. Would that be okay?
Sure, Rhonda.
Great. All right. So let's just start with some basics. What's the best email and phone number to reach you on? And answer them.
Cons@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you for those. And what are the best times during the day for me to reach out to you? Do you have a work schedule? Do you have a preferred time of day that might be best for us to chit chat?
Yeah, anytime I think between 6 and 8 p.m.
Okay, great. I'm going to make note of that, that's the preferred time. So, Jason, let me just ask you right off the bat, has another agent taken you out to look at properties? Have you talked with another agent? Are you already working with another agent?
I have been courting I guess I could say they've been courting me, but I haven't signed anything with anyone yet, if that's what you're asking.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure because I honestly wouldn't want to step on somebody else's toes if you already have a working relationship with somebody and that you have decided to work with them exclusively. I completely understand that sometimes as buyers, we work with a variety of different agents in the beginning and that we feel that maybe that's the best route to take. However, we can have a conversation about why it's important for you to choose one agent and work with one agent exclusively. Would that be okay? Would be okay just to have that brief conversation?
Sure.
Okay, great. So just in a nutshell, and I'm going to break script for just a moment here. So sometimes if I'm following the script, it doesn't say any of that on my script. However, in that conversation, in my script, it just said that Jason would have just said, no, I'm not working with anybody. However, I really want to stress that exactly what Jason said could very likely be what they say, because in this age, a lot of our buyers, they're on Zillow, they're on realtor.com, they're on consumer sites, and they are just sending in context to like, oh, I like this property, I'm going to fill out the form, I'm going to fill out the form. They think that maybe the listing agent is going to be the person calling them back. Sometimes it's a buyer's agent who is an agent in that in that system. Sometimes it is the listing agent. So by the time you're calling somebody and asking them, they may have already spoken with 3-4 agents. They may have gone and looked at a home with somebody. That doesn't mean that there is not an opportunity for you to work with them exclusively. But you want to make sure you ask the right question. So as Jason said, well, I haven't really signed anything and they're courting a few agents. Now, if he said, you know what, there's this one agent who's been taking me out. I don't have an exclusive agreement with them. However, they have been taking me out for the past 4 months on, looking at properties, and I have a very good relationship with them. And I think I would prefer to work with them. Honestly, like that is your cue. And I'm just going to say that from my personal and the way I run my business. For me, that is my cue to step back and say, listen, I'm not going to step on any toes. If you have a relationship with that person, you should consider signing a exclusive agreement with them if you do want to work with them exclusively, because it does define your working relationship to them. However, if in the future you don't feel that's the right fit for you and you would like to talk with another realtor, then I would love that opportunity to sit with you and talk with you about my services and how I can help you find the right home. And it's right because if that was you in the other case, and while, as Jen said, we all should be working off of exclusive buyer representation agreements, you should make it part of your plan that you don't work without one. However, you may have taken Jason out and shown him something or talked with him about something, and then another agent comes in and has that conversation, and you would just want the same respect, right? You don't want, like as agents, we shouldn't be trying to steal each other's clients. Some agents run their business that way. That's totally up to them. If you don't have a signed agreement with somebody, then they are free to work with you. However, I think it's also important to remember we do have agent to agent relationships. So that's just my personal take on it. So back in script, I'm just going to jump back in and say, so Jason, I understand that you have spoken with a variety of other agents in the past. It's important to choose one agent because they are going to learn and they're going to get to know you. They're going to understand what you like, what you're looking for in a home, and they're going to be able to follow your transaction from the time you start looking at homes, coordinate all of your listings, help you with paperwork when it comes time, and they're going to be able to follow your transaction all the way to the end to make sure that it happens with as little stress as possible, and you're going to have somebody that is negotiating on your behalf through the process from start to finish. How do you feel about that, Jason?
Feels good.
Okay, so let's get through, Jason. So let's get through the rest of my questions. And at the end of our conversation, then we can determine how you're feeling. And then I would love to set a time to talk with you and actually go over the exclusive buyer representation agreement and see that if we can come up with an agreement to work with each other exclusively. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay, terrific. Okay, great. So where am I here? Okay, so I want to help you find the home that fits your needs and the needs of anyone else who will be living with you. So besides yourself, Jason, who else will be living with you in this new home?
Just my cat, Roscoe.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm a dog. I have 2 dogs. One of my dogs is a cat person, by the way, and she absolutely loves cats. The other one's not so much. So Jason, tell me, how long have you been looking for a home?
I started middle of last year.
Okay. We're just looking primarily online, and maybe seeing a couple in person. How has that search been going for you?
Well, all my friends are moving, so I'm starting to feel peer pressured into doing the same thing.
Okay, well, that leads into my next question, which is, why are you moving?
Well, I'm moving because the house is too small for my cat. So I'm hoping that we can find something a little bit bigger where he can run around more and play more. Maybe I can bring in a couple more friends for him to play.
I love that. Okay. All right. That's great. Okay. So, well, I guess, Jason, that's a great reason to be in the market so we can help find a bigger spot for your cat. I have a few more questions that will help me understand exactly what you're looking for and what you need. So in the home that you're living in now, do you own that home or are you just renting currently?
I own it.
You own it. So in looking at the purchase of a new home, would you have to sell your existing home in order to purchase?
No. My plan was to keep this home. I'd like to turn it into an Airbnb, and I'm going to take some of the proceeds. I was thinking about taking some of the proceeds on this home, maybe doing a HELOC type of a deal, and then applying some of those proceeds to something. I'm like batting around different scenarios, so I'm not really sure. But no, I don't have to sell this one, and my goal is to not sell this one before the purchase of the next one.
Well, I absolutely love that because having real estate investments as a form of passive income is absolutely amazing. So I think that is definitely a win-win for you. If you are looking for some information on a HELOC, so that way you can pull some of that equity out and use it as a down payment, I can absolutely connect you with some of our preferred lender partners that you can just have that conversation with. Also, if you are going to Airbnb it, I heard you say Airbnb, we can also just help get you into the resources that you need just to make sure that you're checking in with the guidelines of your area to make sure that they're allowed. And if by chance an Airbnb type of rental isn't allowed, we can also talk with you about renting the property out and finding more of a long-term rental by giving you some market data as far as what some of those rates might look like when we get there. How does that sound?
Hey, Rhonda, when you say resources, can you be more specific around the Airbnb? What resources are you referring to?
Yeah, so some of the things that you would want to do is you would want to check in with the town that the property is located in to make sure what their rental rules are. So I know we're in Rhode Island. Newport, Rhode Island, for example, has very, very strict Airbnb rules around what properties in what zones are allowed to be a short-term rental and what aren't. So you just want to make sure that you're just checking in with it's pretty much the city resources that you want to make sure that the property is able to be rented on a short-term basis. And that there's no stipulations in that, because you don't want somebody to go down that path. And especially if you're helping somebody buy an investment property for that sole purpose, and then they find out they actually can't do that. So you want to become very familiar. As realtors, it's also important to be familiar or just know where to get zoning regs, know where to get, have the town, you're going to speak a lot if you're working in a few areas, have the town clerk on speed dial. So that way you can just call. It's a simple question for them.
And that's great because we do have some friends on the zoning committee, so we can definitely reach out and get more info when that time comes to take a really hard look at what we're doing next with this property.
Perfect. Okay. I love that, Jason. Absolutely. But anything you need and any questions you have, you just let me know and I can at least point you in the right direction if I can't answer those questions for you directly.
That's great.
Also, if you have HOA, you have to be careful. Some HOAs do not allow renters or Airbnb.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If it is a condo or even a single family association, you want to make sure you're checking those bylaws as well. If you're helping somebody purchase the property in one of those situations, just as an aside, make sure you're going to get those bylaws, and most times you're going to hand them over for the buyer to read. However, make sure you give them a read yourself, especially the rules and regulations, so that way you understand. We have a buyer that we're working with currently who owns a little condo. He wanted to rent it out. Most condos won't let you do short-term Airbnb rentals. You have to just find an annual renter. Come to find out, in his bylaws, he's not allowed to rent it at all because this condo association also owns apartments. So you just want to make sure that you read those and you're just guiding somebody that they might have to do a little bit more research if that's what they're looking to do. right? Just be that resource, be the local real estate expert. Okay, great. All right, so we're going to move on to so I'm going to keep going here. So Jason, have you been pre-approved for a mortgage already? Are you planning on doing a mortgage, or are you going to plan to pay cash for this property?
I was thinking about that, and I'd love some advice on maybe which way I should go, because we have some cash. So I'm wondering if I want to go that route, or do I want to go? There are certain benefits to another mortgage, but I'm not really sure which way we want to go with it yet.
Okay, that's great. And that's something that we can determine, as we start the searching process. However, I would absolutely love to connect you with a lender if you're not already working with somebody. Are you already working with a lender currently?
We have some connections, but I would be interested in sitting down and having as many conversations as I just want to get a feel for maybe who you might be able to refer out to, kind of compare them with the network that we're currently utilizing, and see, where the chips fall.
Terrific. What I'll do is, after we get off the phone, I'm going to send you an email with a bunch of information, and also just a summary of everything that we've talked about. Included in that, I'm going to send you 3 of my lenders that I work very closely with and who I've done a lot of business with, and you can give them a ring and talk with them about what programs they have. And then that way we can determine what the best path is for you, whether to pay cash, mortgage some of it, or whatever that turns out to be that works best for you.
Awesome.
Okay, great. And so then one of my next questions, Jason, is, have you thought about price range? Where are you comfortable spending?
For the area that I'm looking at, I don't see homes under $425 to $475 for what I like. And I'm thinking about, the feature at, I don't see anything less than that, less than 400,000. There's no way. So I'm thinking that we're looking at, I'd say safely 450.
Okay. All right. That's great. That's terrific. So what we will do is we'll set an automated search up for you that has your specific parameters. I'm going to ask you some other questions as far as number of bedrooms, what the outside area looks like, whether or not you need a garage. We're going to get all of those criteria into an automated search for you. So that way, as properties come on the market and fall into that criteria, you're going to get an email immediately as soon as it hits the market, as will I. So that way we stay on the same page, and we can make a determination from there if there's anything that's interesting enough that we actually want to go out and take a look at it in person. Would that be okay?
Sure.
Great. Okay. So Jason, it sounds like you are the main decision maker. However, is there anybody else that will also be making the decision alongside with you when it comes time to purchase a new property, or is it just yourself?
It's Roscoe. Whatever he says goes.
Okay. Is Roscoe going on the deed? I don't know. That might be a first for an attorney, but I'll do my best.
No, he'll probably be out at all the showings though.
Okay, great. Awesome. Love that. We're going to make some tickety talks on it from that for sure, Jason. Okay, so Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 meaning you must buy as quickly as possible, and 1 meaning you're not sure you're going to buy it all, how would you rate yourself on that scale?
I want to move. I don't want to wait any longer. I'm seeing that prices really aren't going down. So I don't want to wait and maybe miss out on an opportunity. It's also about the right property coming available.
Mm-hmm.
I also have some interesting ideas for you, and maybe you can do this for me, but I want to go knock on some doors of some people's houses that I want to buy and ask if they want to sell, or if their friends do. Can you do that for me?
Absolutely. And, Jason, that is in this market, in the fact that inventory is low. We are in a seller's market in most locations, not in all locations, but most locations, we are still in a heavy seller's market. And so part of our job as your real estate agent is to find homes that are not currently on the market that meet your criteria. So absolutely, we are happy to knock on doors. We regularly will send out note cards, handwritten note cards to an owner, to let them know that we have somebody who's interested in their neighborhood and are thinking of selling, that we would absolutely love to have a conversation for them. Our team also prospects on a daily basis, and we talk with homeowners who have had their home on the market and maybe it is now expired, to find out if they're still willing to and thinking of selling. And also for sale by owners, we can also help you with that process. So if you see a for sale by owner, don't think that you have to reach out to them on your own. Most for sale by owners are going to pay a commission to a buyer's broker. So we can absolutely help you with that. We can reach out to them on your behalf and find out if we can set up a time for you to get in and take a look at that property. So we can handle everything, every property out there, whether it's active on the market, whether it's for sale by owner, or whether it's something that's not on the market currently. If it matches your criteria, we will get to it and we will determine if there is an opportunity for you.
Love it.
Okay, great. So Jason, as I mentioned, I'd love to set a time to sit down and talk with you a little bit more and go over that exclusive buyer's agreement. Do you have some time either on Thursday at 2 or Friday at 1 this week to meet with me?
Thursday at 2 works.
Awesome. Okay, great. I'm going to take you to my favorite coffee spot, buy you a coffee. Are you a coffee or tea drinker, Jason?
I am, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, great. So I will meet you then at Java Madness, and I look forward to seeing you there. And thank you so much for your time today and talking with me on the phone.
Awesome, Rhonda. Thank you.
Have a great day.
As well.
Okay, so questions on that? Ahas, anything else that you thought maybe we should have touched on that I should have said, etc. Would love to hear from all of you.
You should have asked how old Roscoe was.
I should have asked how old Roscoe was. I love that. And it's nice to be able to find, I love when people share personal things like that, so you can find a little bit of common ground, right? Because those are the strings of our relationships that we have with people. Anything else? Any other ahas? Anything that you want questions on, anything that was said, or something that said, oh my God, I would never ever say that ever in my life?
I would approach the financing part of it as, have you have any budget on your mind?
Okay. Yep. Love that. Asking that question differently. Absolutely. Sometimes Crystal, I'm going to get to you in just a moment. Sometimes what somebody is pre-approved for is not what they actually want to spend at the end of the day. And voicing that and letting them know that, listen, sometimes the buyer might say, oh, I've been pre-approved for $650, but I really don't want to spend more than $4. Okay, terrific. We'll be very respectful of that. And we'll set your max price at $400. Totally understand that. Go ahead, Crystal.
Sorry, having trouble unmuting. So I have some buyers that are looking for a second home, like a summer home that's waterfront in Laconia. And you just gave me an idea of reaching out to homes that aren't for sale, maybe sending a letter. And since most of those homes people aren't living at, I was thinking maybe I'll just look on the tax card to see what their home address is, and I can send a letter there. Like, is that intrusive of me?
No, it
Okay.
is. No, do it. Our team just did that recently, and we are getting a listing from it. I think we sent out 20 note cards to a specific neighborhood. And one of the owners reached back and was very touched. It was a handwritten note. My suggestion is that you actually handwrite a card to them and don't just do a letter and pop it in the mail. Some people, if you're doing them in bulk, if you're sending it out to 400 homes, then, maybe you're going to do a letter and just sign it in ink. However, if you just kind of chunk it down and you just do a little bit every week, so you're always sending out, you're doing that consistently, and maybe you're writing 20 a day, right? If you can at all, handwrite it, pop your business card in it. And then people will respond to that. Most people are very touched. And even for people that weren't ready to sell, I got a couple of phone calls back from people who just said, thank you so much for the handwritten note.
I'm actually not thinking of selling my home. I'm never moving ever. But I do appreciate you reaching out. So yes, absolutely. It is a great way to find off-market properties with their low inventory right now. In any market, but especially now.
And who would pay, how could I get paid commission in that case? Like, would the seller or the buyer have to pay? Like, how would I?
So so what your conversation would be is, so in that handwritten note, you might write something like, dear, and if you're using their tax card, you will know their name, right? So dear Crystal, we are currently working with a buyer who is very interested in your neighborhood. If you are thinking of selling, I would absolutely love to have a conversation with you about what that might look like. Here, my phone is my cell phone number, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, put your business card in, send it. When they call you and say, hey, I got your note and I actually was thinking of selling, that's going to be part of your conversation, right? So when they call and say, hey, Rhonda, I actually got your note card. And, I was actually thinking of selling my home. And so I'd like to have a conversation with you about that. Oh, great, Crystal. I'm so happy that you reached out to me. So you want to get the appointment. Listen, I'm available on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Would love to set a time to talk with you. Or, right, if they just want to talk over the phone, right? If they call you back and just say, and if they say, well, I don't really want to meet, I just wanted to have a phone conversation. Great. Is now a good time to have a 5-minute conversation, just a brief conversation? Yeah, it's a good time. Okay, great. So Crystal, as I mentioned in my note to you, we're working with buyers who are interested in your neighborhood. Just wanted to reach out to you to see if you might be thinking of selling, because we will absolutely love to find a home for them. So if ideally I can put something together where our buyers are willing to pay a price for your home that is acceptable to you, would you be willing to pay to pay me a commission to sell your home? Okay. So then you're going to know right off the bat, oh, yes or yeah, well, it depends. They're going to say, well, it's going to depend on the offer, et cetera. Okay. Absolutely, terrific. Would it be possible for me so that I can guide them? Because now if you're doing this, you have no idea what that house looks like, right? Especially if it hasn't been on MLS, you don't know what the kitchen looks like, what the bathrooms look like, that's great, Crystal. I appreciate that. One of the things so that I can guide my buyers as to what they should be offering to make sure we are making a fair offer to you in this current market. Would it be possible for me to set a time to come by the house and just take a quick walkthrough so I can see the condition of the home and I can prepare a market analysis for you? Right? If they say, no, well, no, I don't want you to go. And I've had somebody say that to me. I've had somebody say, no, make me an offer. You said you had somebody want to buy my house, make an offer. And I was like, okay, I was going to make an offer. So then you're just going to have to do your best in that case, right? Hopefully it's been on MLS. You can see it. In other cases, they're going to say, yeah, that would be great. You can just come by and great. Listen, I'm going to be in there. I'm going to take 10 minutes. I just want to zip through so I can make some notes and then I can talk with my buyers and we can put together a fair market value offer for you.
Okay. And if my buyers are paying with cash, do you think I should mention that in the letter that they're ready to go? There's no contingencies on financing.
Yeah, if you know that they're an absolute cash buyer, you can absolutely say, I have a cash buyer who is interested in your neighborhood. Okay. Absolutely. You can absolutely say that. And when you speak with them, say, yeah, these buyers are great. Like they're cash, they're ready to go. They don't have anything to sell. They are ready, willing, and able, and they are excited to purchase a home. They are super motivated to find the right home.
Okay. I'm gonna do it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, it's Ellen. I have a question.
Sure.
So when the potential seller called and said, hey, I got your note, I'm interested in selling my house. You're in mode of getting the listing appointment. So now if you get the listing appointment, you now have a fiduciary responsibility to the seller. Or as a dual agent to the buyer, because you don't know if this buyer wants this house or if it's going to be priced well. So you kind of went into you were still representing your buyers. You're talking to this potential seller.
Yes, if you have a buyer who is interested in purchasing that home, you want to make sure your language is not that, listen, I'm trying to get your listing. I'm trying to bring a buyer to your home, right?
So,
Yeah, 'cause-
yeah.
Yeah, because the note went out to the neighborhood. Let's say it was a neighborhood. We don't know if the buyer really wants to buy that house, but you really probably still want to get that listing. They're interested to sell. And then you kind of pivot to, well, my buyer really wants this house, so let me look at it first. We don't know that yet. Would you have a conversation with your buyer to say, hey, I sent out these letters, I got it for this particular house, we drove past it or we saw it. Would this be something you think you'd be interested? They may say, it's yellow, I don't like yellow, or whatever, a buyer could say that. But you still want to get this sell. But now you've kind of almost sold them on the fact that you have a buyer for their property.
Yeah. And so, and again, it's all going to come down to language, right? And also like letting that seller know that, absolutely, I would, my buyer's interested in this neighborhood. So I'd love to find out if this home is the right fit for them. So, and then in chance it's not, if your buyer says, no, that's not, we don't like that house, we don't like that location, whatever, you then have also started that conversation with that seller that they are thinking of selling and saying, listen, the house is not going to work out for my buyer. However, if you are still interested in selling, I would love the opportunity to sit down and talk with you about marketing your home and seeing if we can find another buyer for it. The trick is if you are sending out those note cards and you are saying in the words in the note card that you have a buyer that is interested in that neighborhood, you should have a buyer that's interested in that neighborhood. You shouldn't put that in there and then you really don't have a buyer and you're just trying to get them to call you to give you to get a listing appointment. In that case, your letter should say something different and should say, the market right now, it is still a very heavy seller's market. I would love the opportunity to talk with you about selling your home if you are at all thinking of selling in this market and taking advantage of the extra equity in your home. So that way, when they call you back, that was the premise for you reaching out to them. If you are reaching out to them saying you have a buyer, then you should have a buyer, and that should be your first path of conversation with them.
Right. And
And if
I think I was.
Then you pivot.
No, go ahead. Say what you're saying.
And say then if it just doesn't work out with your buyer, if your buyer's not interested in that property, then you have the opportunity to pivot and just make sure you say that up front and say, I'm excited to bring this to my buyer because they have said they really like this neighborhood, yet it may or may not be the right house for them, but I would love the opportunity to explore to see if it's something that they might be interested in.
Okay, yeah, because I think that would probably been my more initial response to them versus, yes, I do have a buyer that's looking in this area, but because they approached me of, I'm looking to sell. They didn't say, your first words were not, oh, you have a buyer, yeah, I'll sell. It was actually, yes, I am interested in selling. So my focus would have been at that point, get the listing, regardless of my buyer wants this or not, and focus it that way.
Yeah, and you should bring it back to you want to just bring it back to your buyer, and you want to emphasize that you're looking to make a fair market value sale here.
Okay,
great, love it, great comments. All right, so let's move on to, let's see, that's our buyers. That's just a continuation. Okay, so we did that. We did our role play. We just talked about ahas. Okay, so now they're just going to pivot over before we go to the seller lead sheet, talking about touch plans. And we talked about this a little bit earlier with Command. So Command has these great touch plans in it, right? We call them smart plans, where you can put in, so this just says to add B and C to your touch plan. Why is A not in here? Why does it not say add A, B, and C to touch plans? Why is it just B and C? What do you think?
It's because you're already working with them, and B and C's they're not quite as hot. So they're probably warm and cold. So you want to keep that touch going and keep getting in front of them so that you could move them through your funnel to get them hot.
Love it. Absolutely. A is not in here because you should honestly be on the phone with them almost every day, right, talking with them about what's going on with their listing, what homes you're showing them. So yes, A's don't need to be on a touch plan. Your B's and C's do, right? And they may look a little bit different depending on, because, B's are somebody that is going to be within the next 2 weeks to, I think, 60 days. right? So you want to make sure that you are communicating with them in one way and talking about, okay, so sometime coming up in the next 2 months, if they're ready to go, that conversation is going to look very different than somebody who's 6 months out to looking for properties or to sell their home. So putting them on a smart plan just does it automatically for you. So in a smart plan, it's automated tasks, or it's automated actions or sending you a reminder that you have a task coming up. So if in your touch plan, you are sending a variety of email messages, text messages, and phone calls, your smart plan is going to be set up where if it's an email, you can already have the email composed. It will send it out on the day that it's supposed to. If you're using Twilio, which is a texting service that connects to Command, it will send an automated text message on the day that the smart plan tells it to do so, and you can have that text already written out. If it's a phone call that you're supposed to be making on that day, it will put it in your task list in Command saying, today's the day that you need to call Crystal. And so that way you can look at your tasks and make sure you check those off. You can add clients' contacts to your smart plans. You can put somebody in and say, today's the day that I just entered Bruce into my database. I'm going to put him on this 19-point smart plan starting today. You can go in and you can do, as you're putting contacts into Command, if you're using tags, you can say, I'm going to pull up everybody that has the tag of buyer or I'm going to pull up everybody that has a tag of whatever, they're going to be ready to go in 6 months, and I'm going to put them on this specific smart plan. So the system is very, very smart, and I really encourage you all to take some of the Command classes that are either offered through your market center or through our region, even through KWRI. There's some great programs out there on really how to master smart plans and stay in touch with your database. Any questions? We're going to move on to qualifying sellers. So we just talked about qualifying buyers and what that conversation looks like. So same sort of thing, right? You're going to have a pre-listing questionnaire that you're going to be able to go through with your sellers, right? We're talking about asking questions. All the questions are on there for you. You just have to go through the list and ask it and write it down.
And sorry, where would you get that pre-listing questionnaire again?
It may be in your participant guide. I believe there's
But if I don't have the participant guide, can I get it online?
You can.
I think it was in the chat. If you didn't get it, I think earlier she put it in the chat.
She put it in the chat earlier. Okay. Let me see. I think it's for the participant guide. Let me grab it.
It's also available in KW University.
Okay, perfect. So let me see, will this work? Yes. Okay. So I just, there's a link there to the participant guide, or if you go to KW University, thank you, Roland, you should be able to download it there. This is such a great tool to have. Print out multiple copies of this and just have them in a folder in your bag. So that way at any opportunity, you can pull this out and you have this at your fingertips to be able to fill this out. So let me see if it's going to ask us to go through it. Do we want to go through this together? Do we want to role play it out? How are you all feeling about that?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. So let me see, does it have all of them? Because I think I'm just going to, is it giving me the same one? Oh, great, it's just this one page. Okay, great. So I'm just going to move this a little bit closer to me. I'm actually going to use the one, I have one on my sheet here. So who would like to do this with me? Because I don't think you guys have the script. So I'll be the agent again. Who wants to be the seller? Okay, great. All right, Roland, you're up. Okay. Okay, so hi, Roland. My name is Rhonda Messenborg. I am an agent and team leader with Alpern and Messenborg Group associated with Keller Williams Realty. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. So Roland, I'm so happy that you had reached out to me and told me that you were interested in perhaps selling your home. I would love to just take a few moments and ask you some questions so I can gather some information and make sure that I'm giving you the best customer experience as we start our process together. Would that be okay? Do you have a few moments to do that now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, terrific. Well, let's start by making sure that I have the correct contact information for you. Is your phone number blah, 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 and your email address blah, blah, blah?
Yes, you're correct.
Wonderful. And what is the best way for me to reach you? Do you prefer phone calls, text messages, or emails?
Emails and text is my major. I would like the text or email.
Okay, terrific. I'm going to make a note of that. And Roland, is there a particular time of the day that you like communicating best? Is there a certain time frame that works for you?
Early in the morning would be best.
Okay, terrific. I'm just going to make note of that. So that way I make it as convenient for you as possible. So Roland, just to make sure I have the correct address, what is your home address currently of the one that you're going to be selling?
43523 Vista Serena Court, Lancaster, California.
Okay, terrific. Wonderful. So great. So the first thing that I need to do is to start on your market analysis. So that'll be the first step in our process for us to determine the likely market value of your home when we are ready to list it. So I would like to just start by asking a couple of questions in regards to that. However, one question I would love to ask before I ask you specifics on your home is, how did you hear about us?
I believe I got a flyer or something like that, and I called.
Terrific. I love that. I love that our marketing materials are working. That makes me very happy. That's awesome. And I do appreciate the call. Okay, so let's shift a little bit of the focus on you and where you are moving to. So Roland, when we sell your home, where are you going to next?
I have other properties that I can downsize to.
Okay, so you're planning on just moving into another existing property that you have currently?
Yes.
Okay, all right, terrific. And what is motivating you right now, Roland, to want to sell your property here in California?
Money.
Okay, so you're just looking to take advantage of maybe some equity that you have built up in the house and, make money from when you purchased it?
Correct.
Okay, and how long ago did you purchase there? How long have you been in that home?
About 26 years.
Wow, good for you. Yeah, well, I would say that the market value has definitely increased over that time. And so Roland, how soon are you looking to get your home on the market? How soon would you like to be out of that place?
I could be out of here anytime.
Okay, so if I were able to sell your home in the next 30 days, would that pose a challenge for you?
No, not really. Just give me maybe a week or so I can move.
Okay, is there anybody else in your household that we need to take into consideration that might need a little more time?
Yeah, my wife.
Okay, well, we want your wife to be happy, Roland.
Yeah.
That's very important.
We
don't want to make her sad. Okay, so maybe 30 days might be a little aggressive.
No, she and I had talked about if we had to move quickly, can we do it? And practically practically I don't know any money in this house, so we're okay with it.
Okay. I love that. And well, I can tell you this, that if we do sell your home, if we have somebody who aggressively wants to get in there in 30 days or under, I do have a lot of relationships and resources that I can share, and we can get a moving company, or we can find someone that can help you move out of the house very quickly. How does that sound?
I don't think it would be necessary, but thank you for the offer. Also, I wanted to point out that I would be willing to carry the paper.
Okay, wonderful. So you'll be willing to do seller financing in the transaction?
Correct.
Okay, terrific. And so what we'll do, Roland, is we get closer to putting it on the market outside of this conversation. We'll sit down and talk about what that looks like and what you're comfortable with in that regard. So that way we have all of those details in order should a buyer ask us. So Roland, tell me, if your home didn't sell, what would that mean for you? What would happen if we didn't sell your home?
Well, I'm gonna take the tax credit. My wife and I could take $500,000 without paying taxes, and the rest of it, I would reinvest or put in a stock market or something like that.
Okay, and if your home didn't sell, would you just continue to live there for a while longer?
I would lease it.
Okay, okay, I got it. Okay. So in your mind, you are definitely moving to one of your other properties and vacating this property in California, whether you sell it or you lease it.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate you helping me to understand that situation. So Roland, do you have a number in mind of what you are looking for to get out of your property?
Realistically, everything around here is selling for about $1.5 million. So yeah, I definitely would like to get that. I put a lot of extras in my house. So
Okay.
I think I can definitely get that. I'll walk away with that.
Okay, terrific. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a packet of information for you and send it to you and set a time for me to come by and take a look at the property in person. And then once I do that, I can put my final analysis together and we can come up with the number that we feel your home would likely sell for on the market and the number that buyers would be agreeable to pay as our list price. Would that be okay? And do you promise to review that information that I'm going to send to you?
Yes, I'll review it.
Okay,
Are you
terrific.
flexible on your commissions?
We can absolutely talk about commissions. That is one thing that we like to speak about up front, Roland. So I'm glad that you brought it up. Typically, our commission is 6% of the purchase price. And in the information packet, I'm going to have all the reasons what that professional fee pays for and how we earn that commission. And then at the end of the day, if you want to have a conversation about that, I'm absolutely open to doing that because I never want commission to be the one reason why you choose not to work with us. So we can absolutely have that conversation.
Sounds good.
Okay, terrific. Okay, great. So Roland, I'm going to get that information packet sent to you. Are you available to meet on Thursday at 11 or would Friday at 2 be better for you?
I think Friday will be better.
Okay, and will your wife be there as well on Friday? Because I'd love to speak to both of you together.
Yes.
Okay, terrific. All right, well, Roland, I appreciate your time and I look forward to meeting you. I'll get that information packet in the mail to you. And in the meantime, if you have any questions at all, my cell phone is 203-464-7289. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me and know that I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Okay, terrific. Okay, any questions on that? Anything anyone would have done differently, etc.?
Rhonda, what do you put in the packet that you send?
So in the packet that I would send them is I would send my marketing presentation that I have, which is about maybe 8 to 10 pages. Those are bound. So we have something that is pretty static. So it's just something that we can quickly just bind. It's not specific to that property yet. That's one thing that we have. And then inside along with it is we're going to send some specific market data. We're not going to say what we're going to list the house for because we want to see the home and we want to see the house in person first to take a walkthrough of it. But we are going to share on some other pages in there what the market data is around that home, just so that Roland could see what the other homes have sold for. We'll also just send some market data as well. One thing that we like to do is in Rhode Island, you're able to go onto we have a heat map in the Rhode Island statistics, and you're able to pull the absorption rate for each town individually to say how many months of inventory is on the market. So you could take a screenshot. What I would do is I would take a screenshot, say the property is in South Kingstown, Rhode Island. I would hover over it and then I would just do a screenshot so that way they can see, that specific information as well. So it's your marketing plan. It's some market data. In our marketing plan, we do talk about what our 6% professional fee and everything that it covers and what sets us apart. And then just some data on the market that we update monthly.
When you're saying market data, are you saying comps?
So comps, yep. So market, so two different things. So one is going to be the market data surrounding properties and what they have sold for. The other market data is going to be what the median sale price is, what the, how much inventory is currently on the market. So it's going to also just be some generalized market stats.
So you're saying CMAs as a separate line, as a separate item. Yeah. But is it, let's say we're selling a Cape, but we're going to list Victorian.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sending data more kind of specific to the subject property, and you're making sure that we're not going crazy out of range on that? I'm just wondering, when you're looking at that neighborhood snapshot,
mm-hmm.
what specifically are you sending?
Yeah, so you want to send like-kind homes, just the same way that you would do your market analysis. So you're going to do your market analysis, your CMA, just as you would if you have seen the house, except that you just haven't seen the house yet, right? So if it's a ranch house, I'm going to try to pull mainly ranch houses in one-level homes. If you have to put in, if there's not a lot of data and sometimes you maybe got to pull a Cape in or something, then, you do it just the same way you would do for any CMA that you're doing, but you want to get as specific as possible. You want, if this home is going to be in the range, like I won't speak in California prices because I'm sure that I'll speak in Rhode Island prices. If I'm sending, comps for a ranch house that's going to sell probably maybe around 450,000, I'm not going to include an oceanfront property that sold for 3 million. That's not a comp, right? So I'm not going to give him that market data. I'm going to make sure I'm keeping it in the town to ranches if I can. If I have to go into Capes a little bit, I will do that, but I'm going to keep it relative to his property. So that way, I already know the market data. I already know what I'm looking at. I have a number in mind. And when I go to the property and take the walk through, then we can sit down and I can go through those comps with him and say, based on this market data, and this is a great script to use. By the way, this script comes from Brady Sondal, who, if any of you are familiar with him, he is the director of Keller Williams Luxury at the KWRI level. He's amazing. He had come into our market center last year and gave us a presentation. And one of the things he said when he speaks with his sellers is that he uses the language, instead of using the language, Roland, thank you so much for letting me come through your house. Let's sit down and go through these comps together. So based on everything that has sold in the last 6 months around your area, I would like to price the home at $499. Whatever that number is. Instead of that, language is okay, but the language you really should be using is, Roland, thanks so much for letting me in and taking a look at the property. I'd like to go over our comparative analysis that we've prepared for you. Based on the market data and what buyers have been agreeable to pay for a home like yours, it appears that buyers would be agreeable to pay at a listing price of $450,000. What is the difference? Why would you want to use that language? Or would you want to use that language? And if so, what is appealing about saying it that way? It's kind of said the same things and said we should list at 450, but what was the difference that you noted?
That it's not you that making the price, it's the price of the neighborhood and the price based on data. And people, well, on my price range, they're pretty educated and they understand data. So I would appreciate that terminology versus the other one. By the way, they also have KW has the on design. You can go in there and have presentations already pre-made for you that you can just copy and kind of make it your own.
Perfect. That's great advice. Yes, go on to designs and command. And I believe that exactly, they have a pre-listing presentation in there and a listing presentation and all of that stuff. So yeah, great point. But yeah, Roland's exactly right. If you say it in that way, it's not what Rhonda thinks your home is worth, because it doesn't matter what I think your home is worth. It matters what the buyers think your home is worth. And sometimes sellers are very reluctant because they want sellers want what they want, especially in this market. They're thinking of a year ago. And not only do they want a price that's way up here, is they think that they're going to get 14 offers. That's going to push their price up even higher. And they're going to be disappointed when they don't get it. So it's important to bring them back in and have conversations with them about what buyers are agreeable to pay. And if in 2 weeks you don't have any offers on the property and you have to have the talk, as I like to refer to it as, we're going to have the talk, meaning we're going to have to talk about a price reduction. If you go into that conversation and say, listen, Roland, I'm sorry to have to give you the news that, we don't have any offers currently on your property. We've had it listed now for 2 weeks. Apparently buyers are not agreeable at the price that we currently have listed. So in order for us to be able to sell your home, we're going to need to bring your price down to the price that buyers are agreeable to pay in this market. Right? In a different market, they are willing to pay different, but in this market, we need to know what they're going to pay in this market if your motivation is to sell. And if you have a difficult seller, and I had a seller last year who we were priced high. He wouldn't listen to me. This was before Brady came to the market center. I was like struggling with him just to get him to lower the price. Every conversation was kind of like, it was, him just saying like, this is what I want to get for my property. And I kept saying, Sean, I get it. I completely understand. However, we're not getting any offers at that property. And I remember I called him one night and I said, listen, he was already moved out of the house. I'm like, listen, I know that you have to sell this home. We need to get this home under contract. And I need to ask you for another price reduction because we have not had any offers. We've been on the market for 30 days now. And he said to me, Rhonda, I want to know right now what you think my home is worth. And I said, it doesn't matter what I think your home is worth. It matters what the buyers are agreeable to pay for your home in this market. And that is the price that we need to list it for in order for us to get it sold. Brady had just come in like 2 days ago. And I loved that, loved that conversation that he had with us. And I just used it in that moment. And this seller, who is kind of tough, he's a little type A, really nice guy, but he's just very, and honestly, the only thing that he could say at that point was, okay. Let's figure out what that price is. Because then it wasn't like, well, you said that you thought my house was worth this, and now it's not worth that. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It has to do with what somebody is willing to pay. So it takes not taking the pressure off of you, but it's making sure that sellers understand. It's setting the expectation that it's important to understand what somebody is willing to pay for their property.
I'm in the same situation right now. I listed the property, what they said, telling them that we're not going to sell it at that price. And now we have two reductions and we don't have any clients because everybody already seen the house. And I don't think it's going to sell at that price. They wanted to keep it on the market. So I just, not that I gave up on it, it's just he's way too high.
It's hard, right? And it's hard as a listing agent sometimes because, at the end of the day, it's really is our seller's choice. I mean, they're the ones that, we have the choice to say whether or not we want to spend time on that listing and take that listing if it's not realistic. But, it can be hard. Sellers can put a lot of pressure on us that they want the price that they want, and they want us to get it for them. And as agents and as business owners, we want to make sure that we don't want to leave business on the table. So it's a balance.
Well, the reason I took this listing was because he has given me many deals prior.
Mm-hmm.
So as a favor, I said, I'll list it for that price, but it's not going to sell. So his relationship with me is pretty good. And I told him, hey, it's not going to sell, but I'll list it at your price and then we can go from there. Anyway, I didn't want to, get off the subject, but I have taken, otherwise I would not taken the listing.
Mm-hmm. And I love Roland, what you said, because what you said was you told him that you'd be willing to take the listing, but you just don't know that you can sell it at that price. And that's exactly right. As long as you're just setting those expectations and having the right conversations with the right language to your sellers so they understand what they need to do in order to get their home to sell. If they still say, well, I just want to try it at this price. Okay, listen, we'll try it at the price. But as your realtor, I'm always going to be completely honest with you. So I just want that permission as your realtor that I'm always going to tell you the truth. I'm always going to tell you my honest professional opinion, and we will do what you want. If you want to list it high, fine. I just want you to understand though that we may not be able to sell it at that price. So that's all. It's just about always being honest with them. If you really want the listing, don't just say like, oh yeah, absolutely. I think we definitely can sell. It's definitely worth that. Right? Because then when it doesn't sell, then they're going to look for somebody to blame. But if you come in as the professional and say, listen, I love your home. This is where buyers are likely going to be agreeable based on the data in this market. Yet I understand you don't want to leave $1 on the table. So in the end, it is your decision. And if you want to price it higher to see if we can test the market and stretch the market a little, I am willing to do that. But just please understand that I'm always going to be honest with you. I'm always going to give you my professional opinion on where I feel that our home is best situated in the market. So that way we can find the buyer that's willing to purchase it. And that makes you sound much more professional and much more like a local expert than just somebody who's like, willing to take listings at any price.
Rhonda, as a consultant, I also like to take that preventative approach and put it back on them. What will we do if it doesn't?
That's right. That's a very important question that you need to know if for your sellers, just something you need to know. What happens if it doesn't sell? Right? It's such a great question to ask. It shows you care. I think you're frozen there, Jason. Did we lose you? You'll come back to us. Any other questions? Any other ahas?
Okay, well, I had my hand raised, but
okay, please.
There was something that you said in the conversation in regards to the seller price, and said that, well, it's up to what the buyers want to pay. And that's not always correct, because, well, in my opinion, looking at this from the perspective of you're assuming that this is going to be a cash buyer or a conventional loan, that maybe they don't care about the appraised value, because if it does not appraise, depending on the type of loan, there's no sale unless someone's coming up with additional cash. So is that also, I would definitely want to, and you tell me because you've been in it longer. Isn't that something you also want to educate your seller on, that, the property has to appraise?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. You're absolutely right. You can absolutely add that in that conversation, that if it is a mortgage, then it has to appraise. Unless, right, but it depends on, it's always good to bring that up. Ellen,
you have to just set that expectation. They should know all avenues, because best case scenario, we get a cash buyer that comes in here, but cash buyers don't usually pay top dollar. And if it's a conventional, if it's FHA, here we have CHAPA. I've heard you guys say something about DACA. I know DACA, but not from that perspective. I'm in Connecticut, so I'm pretty slightly different.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Connor Dowd from our market center once said that in his listing presentation, the way he phrases it to his seller is three things have to happen in order for a home to sell. And that is, there has to be a seller who's willing to pay to sell at a certain price. There has to be a buyer who is willing to pay that price. And then if there is a mortgage, there has to be a lender that is willing to lend on that price. So I love that. And yes, absolutely. You should definitely talk about appraisals with your seller, so that way they do understand that the home does have to appraise. Great. Perfect. Okay, anything else? Anybody have anything else that they'd like to add before we move on? Okay, all right, so we already did our role play. We were just talking about ahas. We're going back to adding our B and C sellers into our database, making an opportunity for them and making sure that they are on some sort of touch plan, some sort of smart plan. So we are staying in touch with them on a regular basis. Okay, so general ahas from the whole day today. Anything else? I know we've been talking about them along the way. Today is the last segment on lead follow-up. And so then tomorrow we are moving into the fourth pillar, which I think is the transaction. And so tomorrow, like I said, I'm back here tomorrow with my business partner, Sam Alpern. We are going to be talking about win the buyers. So we're going to be diving in more specifically on working with buyers tomorrow. Okay, so our lead follow-up plan here. So follow-up, convert, stay top of mind, qualify buyers and sellers. I believe these were the 4 segments that you had in this section. Yes, am I correct on that? Yeah? Yes, okay, great. I see some nods there. Okay, so this says here, we covered lead conversion, which is the path to the appointment and the signed agreement. We learned about strengthening relationships through touch plans that continually nurture them. We were just talking about that. And we talked about how to qualify and categorize potential clients for now and future business, right? Those are our A, B, and C buyers and sellers. So now let's see, moving on. We're going to move on to here. Okay. And then moving on to your let's talk a little bit about your success system. So in your success system, so these are the things that you should be doing daily as part of your success system. So how many, so you can use this form to write down how many conversations you had out of 10. You should be having 10 conversations a day. Conversations can be phone call. They can be in the form of a text message. They can be through social media, through messaging, through social media. It's basically a two-way conversation about real estate. And having 10 of those, committing to having 10 of those a day. So as I shared with all of you a little bit ago, up until September 1st, I was the team leader here in our Keller Williams Coastal Market Center, and I'm now back in full-time production, right? So I'm in the trenches here right alongside of you, prospecting every day, making sure I'm having 10 conversations a day. For me, I am spending time reaching out to my past clients that I've lost track of in my sphere and just reminding them that I'm here and I want to help them buy, sell, invest, or anyone they know buy, sell, invest. I've been making it a commitment to going to at least 2 of my past clients and having a meeting with them every week, just stopping in to see their house if it was somebody that I transacted with, especially in the last couple of years. In COVID, we didn't go to closing, so I didn't always get to see them after the closing in their new home. So just catching up and just going and seeing them, reminding them that I'm here and I'm here to help. For new agents who don't have past clients, the people that know and love you, right? Reach out to everybody that you know, reach out through your social media networks and just start a conversation with them. So 10 conversations a day and actually adding those contacts into your database, making sure they're added in, making sure that you're adding notes. So that way, if you had a conversation with them, if they told you something that's going on in their world, you can either make a little note so you can remember to mention it the next time. One really cool thing to do with social media is if I'm calling Ellen, maybe I jump on her Facebook page if we're connected on Facebook, and I just see that she got a new puppy. So when I call her and just, say hello, ask how things are going and say, hey, I saw that you got a new puppy. Oh my gosh, so cute, right? Just be able to say something about that. 10 handwritten notes. So we talked a little bit about handwritten notes today, right? You can send them to people you know and just say, hi, I'm just thinking of you today. if you're thinking of buying, selling, investing in real estate, would love to help you. It doesn't always have to be about real estate. Sometimes just sending a note out to somebody and just saying, hey, you know what, I'm thinking of you, would love to meet you for coffee in the next couple of weeks. Or send out 10 handwritten cards to a neighborhood and find out if somebody might be thinking of selling their home. And then who can tell me what the 10-5-1 social media engagement is?
10 general comments like the thumbs up, something like that.
Yep.
10, 5 and 1. 5 was actually 5 written responses and with some detail, and then at least 1 post.
And at least 1 post. Okay, perfect. Great. You can also do 1 direct message. A little tip that actually another team leader had mentioned to us one day when we had like a team leader huddle that we would do 3 days a week. And one thing about social media comments, if you are commenting on somebody's post, mention them, tag them in the comment, tag them by name, and make sure it's at least 5 words. So if I'm going on David's Facebook page and I just saw that he got a new puppy, right? When I was going to put a post on there, I would actually tag him and say, David, your puppy is absolutely adorable, right? Or something along those lines. Make sure it's at least 5 words. And if you tag their name, you are more likely, by doing that, you're more likely to get a response back from somebody. You're more likely to get a little bit more engagement rather than just saying awesome or terrific or great, love it. And saying like what everybody else is saying. If you say something a little bit more thoughtful, you're likely to get some engagement on it. Okay, and then enrichments. So enrichments, I believe, and you can all tell me if because you've heard it a lot more than I have with New Ignite here. So enrichments is something learning based that you're going to commit to doing. Am I right on that? Is that what I took from what I read? Thank you, Crystal. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, am I right on that? That's what an enrichment is? It's just making a commitment to doing one more step, and be a little bit learning based. Either maybe your enrichment is you take a command class on how to be a rock star at Smart Plans.
So kind of like get a little bit better every day.
Get a little bit better every day, right? Get something in your toolkit every single day. So maybe take a command class. Maybe you read a few pages out of the MREA, out of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Has anybody dove into that book? Yeah.
It's great on Audible.
It's great on Audible. Yes, it is.
I got it on Audible too. I love it on Audible.
It's great. Yes, that book has all of the systems, the models, the tools, everything that you need to be a millionaire real estate agent. Truly, that book is classic. And they say that you need to read it multiple times. You'll take something out of it every time you read it. So keep reading it. It's great to have it on Audible or on your Kindle or something.
I'm sorry, can someone tell me the title again?
So it's known as the MREA, or the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's a book that Gary Keller wrote and Jay Papasan. Sometimes it's called the Red Book, Roland.
Oh, okay, I got that.
Yep, it's like the signature. Yep, there it is. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Miwish. Perfect. We did it one time, and if you go onto the New England YouTube channel for Keller Williams, if you just search Keller Williams New England YouTube, you will find our YouTube channel. Thanks, Brianna. You will find on there that it was maybe a year ago now, but the region did a session just like this, just like we're all sitting here, and we broke down the MREA into chunks throughout a month. We took a whole month, and every day we did a couple of chapters of the MREA and got through the whole book in a month. Those are great to go back and listen to. And I think they were only like an hour long. I think each session was maybe an hour. I think they were quick and just kind of got through the book. So that's a great way to get through that book as well. Okay. So all of you are going to commit now. Oh, I am supposed to talk about the do not call list in the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Make sure that you are adhering to the rules of the do not call list. Make sure you are registered on it. Make sure you are not, you are abiding by it. So that way that you don't get if somebody is on that do not call list and that you are soliciting them. It does not include somebody that you know and you're calling to say hello and let them know that you're doing real estate. These are people that you don't know. Just be very careful if somebody's is on that do not call list. You do not want to get wrapped up in that. Does somebody want to read this for us before we go? Can I have a
I'll read it.
Please, thank you, Whitley.
I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me.
Love that. I love it. Do it one more time for me.
Sure. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me.
I love that. And this is a quote that all of us should read every day. Have it somewhere handy before you start making your phone calls, right? We're all human, and there's some days where we're just like, oh, I just don't want to make my phone calls today. I'm going to find everything else I can possibly do on my task list and not make my phone calls. Read this quote and just remember that every conversation you have, as Jen said earlier, that we're helping people. We're here to help them buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And their experience is going to be so much better with us than without us. And that's all you're doing. You're just calling to ask questions and to be curious if somebody might need your help today. So read this quote and understand that in every conversation that you engage in, you come from contribution, and the people on the other end of that phone or on the other end of that text message or that direct message is going to be appreciative to hear from you and so glad that you reached out, because at the moment you did that, they actually do have a need and they need your help. And they're not going to, you can't help them if you don't know they need help, and if they don't know that you can help you. So make that, all you're doing is making those connection points. All right, I think they're going to have you do the rest of this on your own today, since let's see, it's 11:37. So before we wrap up, any questions, any successes that you're finding out there, anything anybody wants to share as we wrap up today?
Well, I'll ask one thing that we talked about lead generation for the last couple of classes.
Okay.
And like I shared something earlier about the events that happened. It also, I'm a notary as well and loan signing agent. So I actually got a call from a notary I did almost a year ago.
Okay.
And she called me because she said, you know what, I want to be a notary, and you did mention that you would help me. So I'm actually going to notarize her document so she can submit that to the Secretary of State. And I may have a recruit for an agent as well. So I double dip there. But Jason, you are a singer, you have some other streams of income. I'm sure that those are probably really helpful in lead generating. Like, you get to have regular conversations. Can you just give me a brief of what you would do to maybe one of your singer friends, a sound person? I want to hear you. Just give me a spill, if you don't mind.
You're going to laugh at this, and I didn't want to give it away yesterday, but because I'm a singer, I would sing them a song on their birthday. I would post a video saying happy birthday to you and sing it to them in a little clip and send it to them via text, because everybody's going to go on and so if I have a Facebook friend in my phone, I probably won't. And a good example is another agent named Taylor. So Taylor is also an American Idol finalist.
Wow.
So she happened. So she's someone that would appreciate that, right? But who doesn't appreciate having someone, even if your voice is terrible, sing to them on their birthday? So what I would do is, instead of sending a happy birthday to you, I would send them a short video saying, happy birthday to you, Ellen. How old are you now? Whatever. And then just blast it. And everybody, they're going to go online. They're going to see a bunch of happy birthday, cumpleaños, or whatever. But if you do it like that, you definitely stand out because I guarantee you nobody's doing that.
I love that. I'm gonna text you my birthday so you can sing me happy birthday.
March 22nd, I'm an Aries, yeah. Mhm.
That's great. I love that. The
That
power
was
of
awesome.
video-
That was awesome.
Yeah, the power of video is amazing. And even for the rest of us that can't sing, by sending a text, instead of just sending a text message to somebody, send a video text message to somebody. It really does make a huge difference, and they will respond to you if you just send a cute little message that says, you know, hey, Ellen, it's Rhonda. Listen, I'm just sitting here at my desk today and you just crossed my mind and I decided to just shoot this quick little video. I just wanted to say hi. I hope all is well with you and your family. Listen, it's been a while. I would absolutely love a time just to connect, buy you a cup of coffee and catch up with you. Respond to my text message. Let me know when you have some time next week. Would absolutely love to see you. Have a great day. And if you send that in a video, people like, first of all, they're just like, oh my God, that was just like so amazing. I definitely want to get together with you. It really does. The power of video is awesome because it shows that you did something totally personal to them.
Now, someone else said this yesterday, and I think it was, who was it? And I sent him, and I messaged her back, and she ignored me, but that's okay. So there was an agent that had asked, how do I? So I have like all these contacts, like 1,700, whatever, however many she said, and I haven't talked to them, or I don't have notes on who they are.
Okay. Yep.
So maybe a suggestion would be to create a generic message and say, oh my gosh, it's been so long since I talked to you, and I just want to share with you my favorite book title.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a favor? Could you message me back with yours?
Love that.
Well, what? Because here's the truth, right? I'm not hooking them with a real estate sales hook. I'm like, hey, I got something. I want to share it with you. I thought about you. But if you're generic with it, you can blast it to anybody and say, hey, by the way, I listened to mine on Audible.
Mm-hmm.
And right. So then they see your face and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you because I also have 1,700 plus contacts in my phone.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
then
I love that.
And then you close the gap. Now, some aren't going to respond. I don't care. But there are going to be some folks that are like, wow, I remember you. I like you. Thank you. And here's what I'm reading. Or I don't read, but, or you can say, here's my favorite recipe. It's like my mom's jambalaya or something, right? And then they're like, wow, that's pretty cool. And would you do me a favor? Could you share me back your favorite one? Because I'm like starting like a recipe share group or something. I don't know, whatever, right? But if you do it in a video clip, it's pretty impactful.
I think that's great. And everybody has the ability to start a Facebook group and do a recipe club and and doing those sorts of things. I think that's absolutely wonderful. And there's so many ideas out there of just ways to connect. And like, you said, Jason, not everybody's gonna respond, but some people are. And so I think that's thinking outside the box. I love that. Love it.
Thank you, Jason. You gave me a great idea. I don't sing anymore. That was a long time ago. I don't do that. But what I think I'm going to do a little test here. And I always send on Facebook when there's, my friend's birthday, I always send them a note, happy birthday, message them, all that. I think I'm going to make calls. I'm going to call them straight from Facebook and say happy birthday. I'm not going to sing, but I will say happy birthday. But if
Love
you
it.
lend out your voice, Jason.
It's awesome. Great. It's great.
Jason, you have inspired me to do things that I'm very uncomfortable doing.
Good.
But I think it's fantastic what you just said.
If you make it fun,
definitely going to implement that.
Yeah, if it's fun for you, it'll be fun for them.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll love to. Oh my God.
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that.
Great job. Great job. All right. Terrific. All right. So everybody is going to get to doing their contacts. Me too. I lost my mouse here. Where's my mouse? And so we are going to see, I don't know where my mouse is. Jen has these two screens. There it is. So I'm going to see you all tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I hope you're all going to come back. We're going to talk about win with buyers tomorrow, which is the first session in the transaction in the last section. There it is, number 14. Thank you all for your time today. I appreciate Jen giving me the opportunity to get to meet everybody today. And Sam and I are both really excited to talk with you all again tomorrow. Ignite is one of our favorite courses here at Keller Williams. We do have Bold coming up. If you're in the Connecticut, Rhode Island, Mass area, we're hosting Bold here in Rhode Island starting in October. But definitely lean into all of these, all of these educational things that Keller Williams offers, because it's it's all repetition. The more you hear it, it's going to become like clockwork. The last thing that I'm going to say, and you all have been so terrific here today for engaging and taking part in this process, because after a while of just kind of talking to a bunch of names on the screen, you're just kind of like, it's just kind of like, we just want some interaction back. So I appreciate everybody being so forthcoming. Find a role play partner and role play every single day. And the reason I say that is because if you're doing it with a partner, when you pick up that phone to call, it's going to be just second nature to you, because you've already had that conversation numerous times. You've already worked out the kinks as far as objections go. And just like we did today, a couple of you piped in and said, well, I might have said it this way, right? I learned from all of you as well, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I should have said it that way. We learn from each other. So if you have a role play partner, and you can have several, and if you just get comfortable, like don't feel self-conscious about it. If you just get comfortable just going through scenarios, by the time you're picking up that phone, even doing it once, it's going to feel a lot more natural to you on the phone, and you're going to get very, very comfortable with it. I was so uncomfortable doing role play when I was a new agent. If I heard the word, I don't even think we had Zoom back then, but if I had heard the word role play and I was on Zoom, I would be the first one to be like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna get off camera now. But now at this point in my career, I welcome it, because even for me, I'm still learning new things every day. So if I can pass any advice on to you, is to be open to the experience and use your colleagues. We're all colleagues here, and we all, together we achieve more. So find those partners and don't be afraid. Yes, Jason?
As you're talking, a thought just came to me, and I'm going to try this for myself. In the spirit of using the video, I don't take a lot of selfies. I don't really love it, but what I will do is set my camera in front of myself on record and record myself reading the script. I never thought about that until you said it, but I can kind of role play with myself and look at my rapid eye movements, and look at like my hand movements and my pen clicking, and kind of see, okay, I need to maybe tailor that, change that, and it just, as you're talking, I'm like, what, I'm going to try that and see, how well it works for me.
I love that. Yes, you absolutely. If they're in lieu of having somebody face to face, you can do it with, absolutely do that. And that, because it will tell you a lot about yourself and your body language. And even though it's on a phone call, maybe you're not face to face with somebody, the nervousness that you have, it comes through in your voice. So you may think like, well, they can't see me because I'm not on the phone, but seeing how you react being on camera and doing it, it's going to give you some insight of, even if you just smile when you're talking, it actually changes your whole tone. It changes your whole persona. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. All right. So I hope you all have an amazing, amazing, amazing rest of your day. I am going to put my cell phone here in the chat. It's actually, it has me listed as Jen today. It has me listed as Jen. It's Ron. I'll put my name too, in case anybody forgot what my name is, because I'm on Jen's computer. Here's my name. If you need anything, please text me. I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to strategize. I'm happy to mastermind with you. If you have any questions about any of the systems that my team is using, happy to share. So please know that you can reach out. Because I'm going to see you all again tomorrow. I will find the link to those slides from Gary Keller that I talked about, and I will have them ready to share in the chat tomorrow. So that way you can download them and use them in your listing presentations. All right. Okay.
And also just on that, in the book, it says you can go to the website, and download those as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. There's, yeah, and if you search for them on Connect, you'll find them. Absolutely. They're kind of all over the place. I'll make it as easy as possible, but yeah, they're great. Pick and choose what you want to use out there. So, all right. So have a great rest of your day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Yeah, thank you to Roland and,
California rolling on twist.
I love that. I love that Roland's on here from California.
I take it in the morning, this class, because it frees my whole day. So I start at 6 o'clock in the
Oh, good
morning,
for you.
and then I have the rest of the day. So
Awesome.
that's one of the reasons why I'm taking you. But I enjoyed listening from you guys from the other side of the United States. So
Yeah.
great.
Well, great. Well, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Oh, mine.
Now I gotta go back.
Hello. We can't have food on the table is the only thing. It's not pure yet, so the paint is still like happening. I'm sorry.
I can't find it. Because it's, I think, anything like a full document, I think I keep refreshing it. Here, go in there. Which one? is it? Just click on copy of templates. Oh, is it this? Uh-huh. And then page 5. I know, it's like weird because it's under, it technically like sits on Erica's Canva, but we're making a copy, so page 3. So I just, yep. So I don't know, only thing to make it a little bit more visible would be to. And then I honestly was thinking of like emailing her and being like, for the short time that you sent us and like. I'm wondering if I should not do one photo or if I should do a few different photos of the property because you sent a few different. Or if the she sent different things, like I'll pay you guys. So I almost want to be like, okay, then we'll meet, send her an invoice for us now. So it's not bad. Hello. But it's not, you know, it could be, so I just changed it to the white logo. I forgot to say her name is Rhonda. I was trying to Rhonda. But what I'm wondering though is, because I don't love how that white looks, and I feel like she's not gonna either, what if we just raise the photo up to be the top portion and the bottom is not what the house is like? It's a condo. It's the background. Well, I uploaded it, you can change it. I think she'd rather it be visible. Well, then I'm like, should we do 2 different photos on top, split the screen on top and keep the bottom white? And we can do one on the outside and one on the inside. She sent us in our email a bunch of photos. The house is nice, that's a freaking condo for $1 million. If you go to our email, it shows it in there. But I figure duplicate 2 of them, have them be the exact same. What, we're giving her 2 options? This is all she wants? No. She wants that. It's an open house. And then there's the broker open house on Thursday, tomorrow. So basically, I would just do the exact same thing, just change the dates and title of what it is. And then we can. Do I just say you're invited to a broker open house? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna download this. I think this is fun. Is her name on there? You might want to write her name. Just next to her face. Does she not know what to do? I guess Brianna had done it for her, and then she was kind of like snippy with Brianna, but she felt like she didn't get a lot of, maybe do it in person. Yeah, where she didn't get a lot of hits from it, and then like blame Brianna. I don't really know, but she should be using. This isn't a service they offer. It's fine. It's not, but I think it is ours we used to offer. And if we're gonna start doing, the thing is that this is where like the fine line lays is. Magically, this is for everyone. It wouldn't be in a house. No.
What are you guys doing?
Carol Cindy, how's their open house? We gave like add her now for Carol Cindy. And I was very kind, and I asked her, I said, you know, is it this weekend? Is it something I can do for you tomorrow? She was like, no, it's tomorrow. I need it done now. And I was like, I'm at the All Partners meeting. We have